And they're wide.
You kind of sound like my daughter, my goddaughter.
My feet are, I really joke about it, but if I wanted to do a lawsuit, it'd be against stores that discriminate against big-feeted women. So then I go look at those. Like somebody told me to, but they're all Gucci Mama shoes. I ain't wearing those.
They don't have the cute little love shoes. My goddaughter wears a 14.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I'm wearing a size 11.
I'm up to about 140.
14, so she has to go with male type. And she's narrow.
See, I'm not narrow. I'm normal.
But believe it or not, it doesn't almost
I would
fit.
never
No,
wear
he
these
hadn't sent
shoes,
one out,
except
at least to me.
everyone's hurting. So I bought this little contraption that makes it straight. I should say at night only.
They beat the Knowles.
If they win the Mason tournament,
Not yet.
That's what I bought my iPad.
Ready, yes, ma'am. Did you get it all signed?
No, what's in the envelope I have yet to do. And then
There's a lot this time.
So we are working. We're answering.
No, it's a key.
okay, ladies, you about ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I want to get this thing moving. Still 3:29. For Carl.
you should not hear them enough. Yeah. Well, each person gets like 4 minutes to talk.
All right, here we go. Y'all ready? Good afternoon, everyone.
It's not working.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the school board meeting of Volusia County, May 22nd. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Step one over to your side. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to introduce the dais to you. On my left is Mrs. Ida Wright. She is school board member from District 2 and Mainland school board member. Then next to her right is Mrs. Melody Johnson, school board member, District 5. To my left is Mr. Ted Doran. He is our school board attorney. To the far right is our chief operating officer over here, truly is, Mrs. Connie Wine. She's our agency clerk. Next to her left is Mr. Carl Persis. He is from District 4. And next to Mr. Russell is Dr. John Hill. He is our vice chair of the school board from District 1. And Mr. Russell is our superintendent of Volusia County Schools. I don't have an extraordinaire next to him, but definitely her. And then I am Mrs. Linda Cuthbert. I'm school board chair, and I am representing District 3. Items for approval on this agenda is 1.03, 2.02, 5.01, 14.01, 17.01, 18.01, and 2. 21.01 through 21.03, and 22.01. Public participation will occur 2 times today, shortly for items requiring approval on this agenda and for items of general interest pertaining to Volusia County schools. Later, we will have public participation, which will be related to the adoption of proposed amendments to School Board Policy 307, our student progression plan. At this time, we have 1.02. Every meeting, we have a school board member who addresses our vision statement. And this evening, or I should say this evening, the honor goes to Mrs. Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Today is a wonderful day. I wish all of our meetings could be about our student recognition. They're well-deserved, and we want to say congratulations. This is probably the best meeting of each year because we get to see so many of our students and really talk about their accomplishments and hear about some of the wonderful things that they're doing, not just in Volusia County, but in their communities as well. So to our students, I congratulate you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Wright. Now we will have 1.03, the approval of the minutes for April 23rd, and our joint was our joint workshop session. Say that 3 times real fast. And April 24th, 2018, our regular session. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
It has been moved by Dr. Hill and seconded by Mr. Persis to approve the minutes for April 23rd workshop session and our regular meeting on the 24th. Is there any discussion? All those approve, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion is passed. 2.01, agenda changes and any removal. Mr. Russell, are there any agenda changes?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Johnson and seconded by Dr. Hill. All those in favor of the agenda, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion is passed. 3.01, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is recognition of Summer Dario Rivera from Spruce Creek High School. This will be presented by Ms. Susan Freeman and Dr. Todd Sparger.
Student hasn't arrived yet. Can we move it?
Okay, we can come back.
Certainly. We'll hold 3.01 and move on to 3.02.
This is a recognition of the Spruce Creek High School weightlifting team.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Russell. Thank you for, I echo your words, Mrs. Wright, that this is a great time for us as we end the school year and reflect back on all the wonderful accomplishments, specifically of the class of 2018, but looking throughout the course of this school year. I enjoy going through social media and seeing the wonderful things taking place around our district. And we love to recognize the students in different ways. And specifically tonight, we were honored to recognize our boys weightlifting team. I'm going to recognize Coach Mike Randall, a former weightlifting coach himself, but our athletic director does a tremendous job in that role, and let him recognize our coach and these outstanding young men.
As Dr. Sparger said, we've had a great opportunity to recognize not just this team, but in a second you're going to see another one of our teams. We've had a great year, and this is just opportunity to express how grateful we are in the effort that both of these teams put in. But one thing I do want to share, because both of these teams are part of this, is the fact that for the 3rd year in a row, something that Spruce Creek's really proud of is that we are the 9A academic overall team champion for the state of Florida, and our baseball team actually had the highest GPA in the state of Florida for 9A. So we're very proud of that. And but at this time, what I'd like to do is introduce Dave Nelson. He took over our program 2 years ago, and we have a saying in the weight room is that once an Iron Man, always an Iron Man or Iron Woman, and he definitely fits that role because he actually lifted for us back in 89. Okay, I'm he made himself older. But, and then came back and has brought a lot of energy. He got to lift under Dave Ramey, who really started the program, and he's brought not only Coach Ramey's beliefs into the program, back into the program, but he's also brought some of his own, and he's done a great job. So, Coach Nelson, would you like to introduce you?
Apparently, senioritis has kicked in here because I'm missing 3 of my seniors, so these are all underclassmen. First, my assistant coach, Kirsten Manello, she did a great job. This team overall, the boys team overall had a 3.2 GPA as a team average, and the girls team had a 3.6 GPA as a team average. So very, very good in the classroom. First is Aaron Wynn. Come on up, Aaron. Second, Caleb Guthrie, Tien Bui, and Phu Bui, all underclassmen. Some other team members that could not make it were Vincent Sneed, Isaac Adius, and Nick Yeager were also part of this team, and Marvin Scott, who could not be here. So we appreciate the opportunity, though, to be here, and thank you.
Scooch.
3.03, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a recognition of the Spruce Creek High School girls basketball team and state champions.
Thank you once again. As Mr. Russell mentioned, this is our first state girls basketball championship in school history, which we're obviously very excited about. And I don't know if we mentioned, but our weightlifting team, that was their 27th state title in school history. But again, let me introduce Coach Rando. I'll tell you a little bit about our coaching staff, and we'll then introduce the girls. Mike Rando.
Coach Ham, laying back there. Coach Ham has been our girls coach for, I don't even know how many years now, but 7 years. He's going to be a lot more laid back than he is on the court during a game, but he brings a lot of energy, and he's brought these girls into belief that they could accomplish something great, and they did. In fact, many times this year, he pulled me off to the side and just let me know that they had a really good chance to pull this off. And if any of you got the opportunity to watch it, it was incredible. It was a great effort, and one of them things where at halftime, I don't know if anybody believed, but these young ladies and the coaching staff did believe, and it was an incredible comeback, and what a fantastic finish to a great year. Very proud of them. Coach Ham?
I wish I would have knew I had to talk. But all right. Yeah, but it was a good year. Girls worked hard. I'm very proud of them. We had 3 seniors this year. All 3 of them are actually going to play college basketball at the next level on full scholarships. So very proud of that. My assistant coaches, we have Ella Jones, Chris Zablow, Monty Sneed, and Latricia Sims, but she's not here today. In our seniors, we have Yoka Tassant. She's going to University of Rollins. Danica Hamilton, she's going to Daytona State. And then Jayla Adams, she's going to Florida Atlantic University. Our juniors, we have Marina Bunn, Alyssa Derrick, Kiasia Edwards, Petal Joseph. And then our sophomores, we have Periona Sylvester and Delana Gillard. And our two freshmen, Emma Perna and Casey Okers.
I think there's some right up there.
Good job, Coach.
Scooch.
Okay. 3.04, Mr. Russell.
Recognition of Hannah Goodrich and Josh Hibbard, New Smyrna Beach High School students. This will be presented by Mr. Gary Marks and Ms. Karen Chenoweth.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be up here the second year in a row with Josh. We kind of joked because last year we were pretty much last on the agenda, and this year we got bumped way up to the top. So we're quite excited. Josh has an audience today. So I don't think there's anything more exciting than a student athlete, watching them grow and compete, especially when they're seniors. It's just an amazing accomplishment for these young people. And so at this time, I'm going to introduce our athletic director, Gerald Fuller, who's going to explain about their accomplishments.
Thank you, Ms. Chenoweth. We're so excited to have the opportunity to bring two of our best and brightest from our class of 2018. Josh Hibbard is who we'll recognize first. Josh is one of our hardest working, best athletes and best individuals on our campus. He is a back-to-back state champion. Just to list off some of his accomplishments, he is a three-time five-star champion in 3 different weight divisions, 119, 129, and 139. He's also a 3-time district champion in those weight classes, a 3-time regional champion in those weight classes, and a 2-time state champion in the 129 weight division last year and the 139 weight division this year. He also broke the state record for 139 in the bench press this year, and he holds several school records. Last year he was recognized as the 2017 Breakfast of Champion Weightlifting Athlete of the Year, and this year he has been recognized as the News 13 and Spectrum Sports Weightlifting Athlete of the Year. When we have the opportunity, we don't take it for granted because special athletes like Josh rarely come along, and so it's been a really fast 4 years for him, and we don't know what we're going to do without him, but we're really excited that he's going to take his hard work and his commitment to serving our United States military and the Army. So we just want to give him a round of applause for that. Josh Hibbert. Our second weightlifter, Hannah Goodrich, is similar to Josh in having a phenomenal work ethic. Our weightlifting team, and he's not here this evening, but our weightlifting coach, Tim McCrae, is one of the best coaches, if not the best coach that we have on campus. And Josh and Hannah have taken under his wing, and she lives at the school over the summer, in the fall, over Christmas break, over spring break, on the weekends. She's there. And Hannah also has had an extremely illustrious weightlifting career. Last year, she was the 5-star district regional champion in the 139 class and the state runner-up. And she set a goal that she was gonna take the next step and win a state championship this year, and she did that, but in a higher weight class where she was also still the 5-star champion, district champion, regional champion, and then the state champion in the 154 weight class. She's a holder of our bench press record at the school. She holds a 3.7 GPA, and she'll be attending Daytona State next year. One cool thing, and Josh won his a little later, so we don't have his today, but we have Hannah's state championship ring, and so we're gonna bring Hannah up and present her state championship ring today as a graduation present. And so we're so honored and so privileged to be able to recognize in front of the board and in front of everyone two of Cuda Nation's best, Hannah Goodrich and Josh Hibbert.
.05, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This will be the recognition of the 2018 Crime Stoppers Poster Contest winners. This will be presented by Mr. Bryce Hammond and Mr. R.J. Larissa, State Attorney.
Wow, thanks for having us. It's been a long year for Crime Stopper. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to introduce Mr. Larissa in just a second. I wanted to say thank you to Madam Chair, School Board, and Superintendent Russell. And without further ado, we have plenty of students and their principals and teachers here. So, State Attorney R.J. Larissa.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the board and the superintendent for allowing us to participate. This is the second decade of the Crime Stoppers poster contest. The theme is make your school, your world a better place. And I got to tell you, Volusia County is got more talent than I think I've ever seen, and the participation was absolutely wonderful. I think over 1,200 students participated in Volusia County this year in the poster contest. The parents that are out there and the teachers and the school board and the district, you should all be very proud of that. This is one of the most enjoyable things I get to do as state attorney for the 7th Circuit. We have third, second, and first prize winners in all three categories: elementary school, middle school, and high school. We're going to ask the kids to come up one at a time. They will be given their certificate, and they also get a check. $25 for third place, $50 for second, and $100 for first place as a small token of our appreciation for their hard work. So without further ado, I'll start with elementary school. The third place winner from Tomoka is Kendra Anna Unida. Kendra, come on up. Second place, from Horizon Elementary School. That's Paige LeBlanc. Paige? And our first place winner from Enterprise Elementary is Lillian Rempe. Lillian? Okay, now we're going to move on to middle school. We'll start with the third place winner from Henson Middle School. That's Bobby Wang. Bobby, you here? Bobby's not here, but we'll make sure that the school, that the teacher gets Bobby's check to him. Second place from Silver Sands Middle School, Erica Darcy. Hi, Erica. And the first place winner, middle school at from Ivy Hahn, is Damian Medina. Damian? And on the high school level, third place from Mainland High School is Alyssa Dorton. Alyssa? Second place from University High School is Evan McElhaney. Evan? And finally, first place, also from Mainland High School, Jasmine Nagin. Jasmine?
Yeah. Scooch. Scooch. Yeah. Move down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
.06, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a recognition of Taylor Middle High School students presented by Mr. Gary Marks and Dr. Jenny Hughes.
Chairman Cuthbert, members of the board, Superintendent Russell, it's my pleasure and honor to be here this evening as we recognize outstanding students from Taylor Middle High School. Filling in for Jeff Miller, principal, is Assistant Principal Jenny Hughes.
Good evening, everyone. It is my distinct pleasure to present to the board our Dell Scholars. In order to become a Dell Scholar, they have to have overcome significant obstacles to pursue their education. In turn, the scholars serve as positive role models and change trajectories for their families, friends, and their communities. They also end up with $20,000 towards their college expenses, a computer, textbook vouchers, and continual mentorship throughout their 4 years of undergraduate work. I'd like to congratulate this year's Dell Scholars, Myra Gonzalez. Myra Gonzalez. And our second, Kayla Hernandez, had to send her regrets. She had wanted to be here. However, she had to fulfill her duty of orientation at UCF so she could start summer classes on time. I also am so very proud to announce that we have a National Merit Scholar at Taylor Middle High School, Royce Thompson. He is one of 0.09% of the initial pool of 1.6 million students in 22,000 high schools who has been chosen to receive this award. So we are very proud of all of our students at Taylor, and especially proud of these two.
Congratulations. I just wanted to interject. Everyone should have their cell phones silent. I've heard 2 so far, and if you're very honest, you will write a check for Futures Foundation for $50. Our school board attorney will tell you it's necessary to turn your phones off. So please, that's the penalty we put off for cell phones that go off. So thank you very much. Okay, 3.07. Mr.
Thank
Russell.
you, Madam Chair. This is the recognition of Sunshine State Scholars, and the presentation will be by Ms. Amy Monahan.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, esteemed school board members, and Superintendent Russell. A little bit about Sunshine State Scholars. This program is a collaboration among the Florida Education Foundation, the Florida Department of Education, and the State University System of Florida. So each year, Volusia County picks the top 11th graders from each of our high schools that demonstrate involvement and interest in STEM education, as well as pursuing STEM career in their future. These students participate in a celebration that recognizes their talent and the talent of 11th graders from across the state. This year's celebration will take place May 17th and 18th. Our students were chosen by panel to exhibit top academic prowess and involvement in STEM programs available at their schools. This year's winners are exemplary in as much in their academics as their commitment to extracurricular activities in STEM. These students have no lower than a GPA of 4.5, with the highest of a 4.7. I want that to sit for a moment. When you think about it, and they're all women in STEM. So a future is looking very bright for our women in STEM here. Agreed. This is important to show those opportunities in STEM are as strong for women as they are for men. The women tonight each spoke of a teacher or teachers that opened their eyes of what STEM could mean for them. So tonight we're going to honor all 3 of them. Our first winner, Marion Hagstrom, has many role models in her family to show a path of higher education. However, it is her teacher, Miss McCullough, that helped her see STEM in many paths, such as Science Olympiad, and in building a hydrogen car, and going to a 3D convention, 3D printer convention. So congratulations to Marion. Our next winner, Grace Liu, is a multifaceted in her exploration of STEM. She tells a great story of disassembling her brother's robot when she was 7 and not being able to put it back. She looks to combine engineering with environmental science and pursue an environmental engineering degree and go into research. Her experiences include state science fair, Science Olympiad, and Envirothon. She credits her teachers for her love of STEM. Congratulations to Grace Liu of Spruce Creek High School. I forgot to mention Marion is from Taylor High School. And finally, in case you're taking roll, this year we were allowed 2 top honors and 1 alternate, and so we have a 3rd Sunshine State Scholar, and that is Jordan Taylor of Seabreeze High School. And Jordan has a passion for medicine and STEM. She speaks of a love of science and math to help people in the field of medicine that stemmed from participating in a robotics team. Jordan leads the Medical Teens of America Club at her school that explores medical careers and STEM technology. Her goal is to attend a medical program at USF. Presenting Jordan Taylor of Seabreeze High School. I teased Jordan because I had to put that in about her robotics teacher, because that was me. Congratulations to this year's Sunshine State Scholars.
I'll let you go bike. We're going back to 3-1. We would now like to go back to 3.01. Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a recognition of Summer Dario Rivera from Spruce Creek High School.
So hello once again. Did want to remind folks it's a great day to be a Hawk, if I haven't said that yet already. Great to recognize Summer. Many of these students, athletes that we've recognized, and from other schools as well, will be at the Best of Preps tonight at the Ocean Center to receive some further recognition, which is wonderful for them. But let me again recognize our state champion weightlifting coach himself, and now our athletic director, Mr. Mike Rando.
Summer was a great find for us. In fact, probably 3 years ago, she's a softball player starting out, and Coach Bennett, who used to be the girls coach, we were riding around out at the fields and everything, and went by the batting cages and saw Summer, and actually went up to her and said, "Hey, what do you think about being a weightlifter?" And she just kind of looked around at all the other girls that were in there and got, "Who are these creepy guys?" And just never gave it much thought, and we just kind of kept going, and she popped into the weight room one day and turned out to be a 2-time state champion for us, breaking records and just doing incredible things through hard work. I want to bring up Coach Nelson if he'd like to say anything.
Summer's also great in the classroom. Is it weighted 4.0? Yeah, weighted 4.0 GPA. She broke 2 five-star conference records, 2 state records, and 4 school records during her senior year. Second-time state champion though this season. But the main thing that was important for Summer though for our team was her leadership, as far as her influence on the younger lifters and encouraging them, and that's what I'm most proud of, is her being a good leader on the team. So, because sometimes you get someone that's really successful, and they may fall off on that end, but Summer did a great job of helping those young lifters this year. So we really appreciate her.
No such luck today.
3.08, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a recognition of the Florida PTA Reflections Arts winners. This will be presented by Ms. Nancy Wade, Ms. Jennifer Dietz, and Ms. Patty Edwards.
Good afternoon, School Board Chairman Mrs. Cuthbert, School Board members, and Superintendent Mr. Russell. I am here representing as Secretary of Volusia County Council of PTAs. Thank you for giving us the opportunity today to recognize the 2018 Florida PTA Reflections winners. PTA believes that all children deserve a quality arts education and encourages students to pursue artistic expression through participation in the annual Reflections program. Each year, the Reflections program offers schools and PTAs opportunities to showcase the work of our talented children. Students in preschool through grade 12 can submit entries in the following categories: film and video production, dance choreography, musical composition, photography, visual arts, and literature. This year, hundreds of children from across Volusia County participated in the Reflections program themed Within Reach. These students we are going to recognize today placed in the top 3 in their categories for Volusia County and were recognized at the Museum of Arts and Sciences in January. Their pieces were submitted to the Florida PTA and competed against the entire state of Florida and have placed there as well. I would like to ask our Reflections Chairman, Mrs. Patty Edwards, and our President, Mrs. Barbara Diaz, to help us pass out their certificates. The first award recognized by Florida PTA is the Award of Merit. Up to 5 Award of Merit entries are selected per age division and art category. This means that these students were in the top 5 in the state. Their art will be displayed at the Florida PTA Leadership Convention at Innisbrook this July. This year, VCC PTA is proud to have 5 Award of Merit winners. Our first Award of Merit winner comes to us from Sweetwater Elementary. He submitted in the literature category in the intermediate division. We would like to congratulate Ethan Muller. I don't believe Ethan was able to join us tonight. Our next Award of Merit winner comes to us from Pine Trail Elementary. He submitted in the photography category in the intermediate division. We would like to congratulate Luca Caney Olivari. Another Award of Merit winner in the middle division of the photography category, we would like to recognize Elise Cardo from New Smyrna Beach Middle School for her work. Unfortunately, she was unable to attend tonight due to another function at her school. Our next two Award of Merit winners submitted in the visual arts category. Our first visual arts winner in the primary division joins us from Sweetwater Elementary. Please help me in congratulating Chloe Cromer. Our second visual arts winner in the intermediate division attends Pathways Elementary School. Please help us recognize Jake Anderson. The second award given by Florida PTA is the Award of Excellence. There is one Award of Excellence selected per age division and category, so these following students place first in the state. These winners then compete at the national level. This year, VCC PTA is proud to have two Award of Excellence winners. Our first Award of Excellence winner submitted in the category of film production in the intermediate division. He attends Freedom Elementary School. Please help me to applaud Gavin Richmond. Our next Award of Excellence winner submitted in the category of photography in the primary division. She also attends Freedom Elementary School. Let's congratulate Scarlett Fess. Thank you again for the opportunity to present to you today. We very much appreciate the dedication and support you have shown to the PTA, the Reflections program, and all the arts. We look forward to seeing you again next year.
The state winners. I think some of yours too.
Okay.
Did they? Who called? No.
3.09, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a recognition of Cheyenne Buckmaster from Creekside Middle School. This will be presented by Mr. Bryce Hammond.
Thank you. We're so happy to have this wonderful piece of artwork here that you see has been hanging at the Capitol this year during session. I want to have Mr. Nelson, the art teacher, come up, please, and just you can stand right here. Mrs. Chester, the assistant principal, is here for Mr. John Cash. And the student and artist of the hour is Cheyenne Buckmaster from Creekside Middle School. Come on up here. We have a few awards for you. It's a little complicated because we have an award for the school, which is this beautiful photograph of the art teacher and the principal and the artwork all together with a nice plaque. So I'm going to present that to Mrs. Ted. So for Cheyenne, we have this beautiful certificate you can see here from Florida Department of Education. You're welcome. Hold on, don't leave, because we have this really great medal for you, which is Excellence in the Visual Arts for Volusia County for the year. So thank you for participating. This is a middle school award, grade 6 to 8 for all counties in the state, and she was the winner this year. And you inspired me with this wonderful piece of artwork, which you get to take home in the frame. We are actually going to start a middle school, county, exhibition next year to choose these awards instead of just having them sent in as photos. So we hope to see you all there for middle school art, and thank you for having us.
.11, Mr. Russell.
Madam Chair, 3.10.
Oh, 3.10, sorry,
Thank you,
can't
Madam
read,
Chair.
can't add either.
This is
All
the
right, 3.10.
recognition of Scholastic State and Scholastic National Art Award recipients, and this presentation will be done by Mr. Bryce Hammond.
Hi, it's me again. If everyone, I think we'll just all come on stage if you don't mind. We have Tina Curry, who is from New Smyrna Beach High School, Ms. Chenoweth, who is principal of New Smyrna Beach High School, Bruno Moscola, who's our teacher at Spruce Creek High School, and Dr. Sparger from Spruce Creek High School. Did I get the schools right? Okay, cool. We had these cool medals this year, as you saw, that Cheyenne got, and they spin, so that's really fun. Anyway, so the deal is that these students, artists, and their teachers, they put in every year for this thing called Scholastic State Awards and Scholastic Nationals. And it's very rigorous, and they have to put in all this work. We have so many this year from our county that won awards that we're giving the Volusia County Excellence Award in the Visual Arts to the ones that got portfolio, which means their entire portfolio was accepted as a state award. We also have national award winners from Scholastic that I will read out from their medals. But before we even get started, just give them a round of applause because of all the rigorous work they do. So the first award is to Natasha Fenga. She won a Scholastic Gold Portfolio Award. I know her. The next award goes to Megan Flint, Scholastic Gold Portfolio Dolly Museum Juried Exhibition Award winner. Oh, and Miss Curry is taking the award, apparently. Okay. Next award goes to Rowan Lewis. Miss Curry, you come back up. Scholastic National Award, Scholastic Gold Portfolio, and Dolly Museum Juried Exhibition Award.
Wow.
You might want to stay here. The next is for Carolyn Muldowney from Spruce Creek High School, Scholastic Gold Portfolio. The next award is for Emily Payne, Scholastic Gold Portfolio, New Smyrna Beach High School. By the way, you have to put those on for your photo, so you might as well get started. I'm trying to save time here. Okay. The next award is for Kate Schiff, Scholastic National Award and Scholastic Gold Portfolio. You have to wear all of them. Yeah. The next award is for Ashley Teagarden, Scholastic National Award, Scholastic Gold Portfolio, Dolly Museum Juried Exhibition. You can have a lot. New Smyrna apparently works really hard. Go kudos. The next award is for Caitlin Champo, Scholastic Silver Portfolio, Dolly Museum Juried Exhibition, and National K-12 Ceramic Exhibition.
Yeah, sure did.
The next award is for Caroline Crawford, Scholastic Silver Portfolio.
She's not here.
Ms. Curry.
Yeah.
I get to shake their hands up in Jacksonville, by the way. Emily Minton is Scholastic Silver Portfolio, also New Smyrna Beach High School. Where's Miss Colby? Allie Ogletree, Scholastic Silver Portfolio. We're almost there, everybody. Allie Stalker, New Smyrna Beach High School, Scholastic Silver Portfolio. Miss Curry. And that is it. I have a lot of paper between. I do want one more time to just say thank you to the principals, because there's a reason these two schools have all these people, is because these principals support their art teachers, and these art teachers work crazy. They call me all the time, they email me. So congratulations, thank you.
Okay, now we go to 3.11. Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is recognition of Ms. Kathleen Learn, Outstanding School Volunteer in the adult category, and this will be presented by Ms. Annette Hood and Mr. Adrian Bronson.
Good afternoon, Chairman Cuthbert, school board members, Superintendent Russell, members of the audience. I am here to recognize several volunteer categories today. As you might recall, back in January or February, we recognized Ms. Kathleen Learn as Volusia County's Outstanding School Volunteer in the adult category, and she was nominated by Cypress Creek Elementary. At that time, we only recognized our Volusia winners, and the awards were remitted to the Florida Department of Education for consideration at the regional level. Well, today we are very honored to be recognizing Ms. Learn for having been selected as Central Florida's recipient of the Outstanding School Volunteer Award in the adult category for Region 3.
Wow.
This annual award is presented by Commissioner of Education Pam Stewart to students and adults who donate their time to enhance further the hard work taking place in Florida K-12 public education system. Awardees received a congratulatory letter from Commissioner Stewart and a mounted certificate that Assistant Principal Ms. Pitchford is going to showcase and give it to her again. It is with great pleasure that I invite Ms. Learn and Ms. Pitchford to join us on stage, which they already are, and I have family members of Ms. Learn here with her so that they can share a little bit about her award and her persona.
I am truly honored this evening as the assistant principal of Cypress Creek Elementary, along with Mr. Adrian Bronson, our principal, along with everyone a part of the Cypress Creek Elementary family, to present to the board and Superintendent Russell, Mrs. Kathleen Learn. She's very different than the typical school volunteer. Obviously, that's why she has earned this prestigious award. But it's very appropriate as this evening, as we've been recognizing our wonderful students for their achievements in many areas, to be acknowledging also Miss Learn this evening, because what makes her so unique and what makes her stand out is the contributions that she has made to Cypress Creek Elementary, giving over 400 hours alone, focusing with our students most at need. Our students that are English learners of other languages, our exceptional education students, and our students that just need extra reinforcement. She has teamed along with the classroom teachers to provide that extra dose with whatever it is that they've needed. And truly, we recognize her as one of the main contributions of our school grade, going from a B the previous year to an A last year, according to the Florida State Accountability System. And so we truly appreciate all that Ms. Learn has done for the school, and that's just one thing. I could go on, but you really don't want to hear all of those things, but she is just fantastic all around. So Ms. Learn, on behalf of the board and Superintendent Russell and the State Department of Education, we want to honor you with this Outstanding School Volunteer Award. Two beautiful children are otters also, and so they have to share mom with us in many ways. So thank you to her whole family that is here celebrating her.
Okay, continuing on to our second presentation, it is recognition of another Outstanding School Volunteer Award recipient, Mrs. Georgia Howard, who was also nominated by Silver Sands a while ago, and we already recognized her at the beginning of the year for Volusia County. So we again send all the nominations to the Florida Department of Education, so we have two winners this year. So today we are again honoring Mrs. Howard for having been selected as the Outstanding School Volunteer Award recipient in the senior category for Florida's Region 3. Mrs. Howard received a congratulatory letter from Commissioner Stewart and a mounted certificate acknowledging her hard work and dedication. And I have here Principal Amanda Wiles, who is going to share a little bit more about Ms. Howard, and she also brought her certificate mounted, so I'm going to let her take over.
Good afternoon. I could not be more pleased to be here with such a special lady. Silver Sands Middle School is so lucky to have Ms. Howard as a volunteer. She spent more than 15 hours per week at Silver Sands implementing a tutoring program that she designed, helping over 30 students that had underperformed on our state assessment. Through her efforts, 100% of those students not only improved their grades in the classroom, but they showed 1 year's growth on the FSA or more. We could not be more thankful for her impact that she had on our students and our teachers. What a great help she was to everyone at Silver Sands. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you the State Senior Volunteer of the Year, Ms. Georgia Howard.
All right. Ms. Cuthbert, and members of the board, and Superintendent Russell, I want to tell you that I am so excited to receive this state award because I was a teacher in Volusia County for 20 years and now a volunteer for 11. And I know what this county is worth. And just look at it, we had 2 state winners, Ms. Learn and myself, in the volunteer category. And so once again, besides all the wonderful other areas in which Volusia County is being recognized by the state, here is another moment. And so I'm very excited for both myself and Ms. Learn that we could bring this to Volusia County. I had a wonderful 11 years in schools all over the county, with many teachers, all wonderful. But my favorite spot was Silver Sands. It's a beautiful school. The teachers are dedicated. The reading teachers are phenomenal. And I worked with an exceptional and dynamic instructional coach, Celeste Johnson. I want you to... We worked hard together on that reading program. And she was my inspiration, and I worked under her. And so thank you for listening to us and for taking this moment to recognize the work of Silver Sands.
Thank you to everybody. Our next recognition is to acknowledge the recipients of the Teacher Volunteer Team Award at the elementary level. The winning team was nominated by Champion Elementary, and the winners were teacher Mr. Douglas Witter and volunteer Ms. Hazel Witter. I would like to invite Principal Leslie McLean and, do we have them here? Yeah. And Mr. and Ms. Witter to come up on stage, where Mr. McLean is going to brag and share a little bit more about their winning team.
Thank you very much. Well, it gives me great pleasure and an honor to be up in front of you this evening to introduce to you Mr. and Mrs. Witter, our Volusia County Volunteer Team of the Year. When our students walk into Mr. Witter's classroom, they are immersed in a world of superheroes. And those superheroes were created with long hours by this team right here. And during the year, they are encouraged to become educated and educational superheroes. And every day, a few of our lucky students get to wear the superhero capes as they go out to recess, and they're so proud of that. But we know this, and I know this in my heart, that the true superheroes are standing right here in front of you, Mr. and Mrs. Witter, because they are the ones that encourage our students, and they are the ones that have spent countless hours during the summer, before school, afternoon events at our school, evening events, and even weekend events, making sure that our champion Black Bears, all of them, are superheroes. They truly are our dynamic duo. They truly are helping and empowering our students to get better academically, physically, and socially every day. And together, they are building champions, one Black Bear at a time.
Thank you again and congratulations to them. Our next recognition is to acknowledge the recipients of the Teacher Volunteer Team Award at the secondary level. And the winning team was nominated by T.D. Taylor Middle High School. And they are teacher Dr. Monet Bradley and volunteer Mr. Taylor. They are not here today to accept the award, but Dr. Jeannie Hughes is going to join us or join me for a few minutes and talk about their winning team and accept the award on their behalf. And she's just walking our way, so it's okay. Dr. Jeannie Hughes.
We are so proud of Dr. Bradley. She is our key club sponsor, and Mr. Taylor is here. I did talk to him the other day. I didn't see him in the crowd. He is awesome with the Key Club over in Astor, and together they make a dynamic team to bring students, and that club keeps growing year after year after year to help the community in Pearson, Seville, Astor, Emporia, so that underprivileged students get what they need in order to be a better student for Volusia County Schools. So let me have Mr. Taylor say a few words.
I'm very honored to get this award. I appreciate it very much. Taylor is close to me. It's my alma mater. My grandfather is named after the school. So I'm very happy and honored to get this award. Thank you.
Thank you again and congratulations. Our next recognition is the Family and Community Involvement Award. The purpose of this award is to promote and recognize innovative school practices that increase family and community involvement. This year, this district winner was Reed Patillo Elementary for their project Making It Happen, Kids Way. And I would like to invite Principal Lewis, oh, there she is, sorry. Principal Lewis and Cindy Crandall to join me on stage where they will share a little bit more about their fantastic project. And I'll get the plaque.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Russell. We are excited to accept this award because, as the superintendent guiding principle says, involving our families and our community is important to us at Reed Patillo Elementary. And we have a unique way of doing it, which Mrs. Crandall is going to explain a little bit more about some of the programs that we feature throughout the year. Thank you. And what's important to us at our school and how we approach it differently is that we not only think about involving the family and the community with our students for academic success, but we also think about their health and wellness and also their social emotional learning. So we've done a lot this year, and we have even more planned for next year to involve our students and families and our community members, because it takes everyone to make our school a success. So I introduce to you Ms. Crandall, who is the spearhead of all that we do in bringing those things together at our school and making sure that everyone is involved.
It was off. I brought a little treasure tonight, and I'm going to ask my principal if she'll go and share with the school board members. Mr. Russell, Ms. Cuthbert, and school board members, thank you so much for allowing us to come and share the amazing things that are happening at Reed Patillo Elementary School. This year, we did, as every year, try to involve and do a lot of family involvement activities. Our project this year consisted of 4 very large involvement activities. The first one was Soaring to Success, and it laid the foundation for all of our students so that they could understand what Common Core and what the standards look like and what the benchmarks are. So our parents need to understand some of the language that teachers use so that we could get them on board with what was happening in the classroom. And the second event was called the Hop to It Health Fair, and that was kind of an exciting time. We had, oh gracious, over 400 family members and community members that came out for that event. We decided that we're not just doing a spray and tell kind of training. We are really getting down to the nitty-gritty of helping our parents understand what truly our students need to have in order to be successful in the classroom, at home, in the community, on the football field, in the weightlifting room. I mean, I've been so amazed today to hear all the amazing things that have happened with our kids. But the health fair laid out a wonderful foundation. When you have a healthy child, you're going to have an amazing learner in a classroom. So that was our second event. And then we had another one that was a wealth of health, making math happen. And we combined all of these activities together this year. But this activity was where the parents came. They learned about math and how math and the kitchen and the heart and the heartbeat and all of those things go together. They made healthy snacks and worked together. And then the last one was Show What You Know, learning and celebrating all the things that we've learned this year. It was really amazing because at the end of last school year, we were able to receive a wonderful grant from New Smyrna Beach Florida Hospital, and it was amazing. So this year, they actually contacted us and asked us if we would go ahead and apply for grant money again. So I'm pleased to announce that we not only are receiving another Florida Hospital New Smyrna grant. I've never had anyone call me before and say, Mrs. Crandall, you didn't ask for enough money, so please double the amount that you asked for. And I went, woohoo, I can do that. And then we're also this next year going to receive a Tanger Kids Outlet Mall grant to put another program in place. So I'm very excited. In your envelope tonight, one of the activities that we did with our children is there's a little yellow key in there, and there's a little braided, it looks like a little keychain with a bead on it. Well, this is an activity that our parents did together, and whether you were a mom with 2 children, or a grandmama with 2 children, or a mom and a dad with a child, we gave 3 pieces of yarn, and we had the children braid it together as the unity of the family, because working together is exactly what we have to do. We established a team this year with our families, and it's just been an amazing adventure, and we can't wait to see what's going to happen next year. And we also are sharing some little rockets with you because we're the Repatilla Rockets, and we're proud of what we do at our school. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you again. And our last recognition is for the Volusia Partner Commissioner Business Recognition Award honoree. For this award, an organization is selected as the Volusia Partner of the Year to recognize their business partnership with a particular school and their focus to help increase student achievement. The recipient is also honored with the Commissioner's Business Recognition Award, which is sponsored by the Florida Department of Education and the Florida Chamber Foundation. The honoree is also recognized by them for their exemplary business partnership. This year's Volusia Partner Zebra honoree is Ponce Inlet Lions Club, and they were nominated by Longstreet Elementary for their academic support, tutoring, enrichment activities, food donations, and for sponsoring the school's Food Brings Hope and Kids Zone programs. I would like to invite Principal Judith Watson to share a few words about their great partnership, and also invite all of the Ponce Inlet Lions Club representatives to also join us on stage.
Well, good evening, Chairman Cuthbert and school board members, Superintendent Russell. I have with me tonight Shirley Akavatian. She's the president of the Ponce Inlet Lions, and TOA at Longstreet, Kim Scatia. And we are here tonight so proud about the recognition the Ponce Inlet Lions has received for their support and contribution and volunteer hours to Ponce Inlet, to Volusia County, to R.J. Longstreet. Our school's partnership with the Ponce Inlet Lions has been going on for years, even prior to me being appointed principal at R.J. Longstreet. They have always been very faithful supporters of our school. However, in the last few years, we have seen that partnership grow exponentially. They heard of our need to support families with food and clothing, and they jumped on board by being the sponsors of our Food Brings Hope program and worked to raise money to support the weekly distribution of food to our families. Their fundraising efforts extended to a golf tournament, which they ran for 2 years. And this last year, the golf tournament raised for the school to support food and clothing for our families over $15,000. Another amazing aspect of the Lions is they have no lack of volunteers. I looked at Shirley one time and I said, do you have like 150 volunteers, Lions members? And she said, actually, they only had 54. And what I could tell is it felt like their volunteerism was 3 in 1. They, what I believe made them the winning recipient of the Volusia Partner of the Year Award is the support they provided that continues to grow with each passing year. In the past, they provided funds to purchase technology and school supplies, but last year they came on board with Food Brings Hope, and this year they even started an emergency pantry at school, which has been very much utilized. They even handed out Publix gift cards that allows us to purchase perishable items for food items for families receiving these emergency goods. They gave us $2,000 for student clothing needs, and most recently, through a donation by a Lions member, $5,000 for instructional materials supporting our ELA and math content. Their giving to Longstreet continues each year. This year, there were 28 volunteers organized by the Lions members, so you can see that 28 went beyond the actual membership of the Lions to work with our first grade students. They worked with first grade students on their phonics and fluency skills. Some of the volunteers that came to work with first graders were retired teachers, some were bilingual, and were able to support our Spanish-speaking students, making a real connection for those students to the school that previously had not been there otherwise. The support provided by the Ponce Inlet Lions has helped us meet the needs of our children, their family, and our teachers in amazing ways, and we truly treasure this partnership of the heart. So it was with great pride that I give this recognition to Shirley Akavation. You have a few things you want to say to us?
Very briefly. The Ponce Inlet Lions Club are happy and very thankful for this recognition this evening. And I would also like to thank R.J. Longstreet for allowing the Ponce Inlet Lions to complete their mission of We Serve. Thank you.
Thank you again. This concludes our presentation. I want to thank the outstanding school volunteers, all of our teams, and business partners that make so many things and good things and provide to our district, and their contributions are invaluable. Thank you very much and have a good night.
We have one more. 3.17, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the recognition of Volusia County Schools All-State Musicians. This will be presented by Dr. Monty Musgrave.
Chairman Cuthbert, board members, Superintendent Russell, thank you for this opportunity today, and I'd also like to recognize the planners of this event for saving the best for last. I am thrilled and honored to be here today to recognize 51 elementary, middle, and high school musicians who were selected to the Florida All-State Ensembles. These students were selected through a very, very rigorous audition process from tens of thousands of students from around the state. These students, in their reward for their successful audition, was that they got to perform, they got to rehearse for 3 days with all the other students from around the state who were selected for the all-state bands, choirs, orchestras, jazz bands, Orff ensembles. They rehearsed for 3 days and put on a grand performance at our state Florida Music Education Association conference in January. This event is the second largest of its kind in the country, attended by over 9,000 educators and parents and students. This is a tremendous honor, and I'm so thrilled to recognize all of these students. Being that they are musicians, and all of them will not be here this evening because they are preparing for spring concerts and all kinds of rehearsals going on right now, but I still would like to announce their names and recognize them for their fantastic achievement. So the way that we'll do this, if it pleases everyone, I will introduce these students by school board member. And as I introduce the students, I'd like to have them come up on stage along with their teacher and their principal and the board member, and that way we can get a wonderful photograph of this event. Okay, great. So we'll start first with District 1, which is Dr. John Hill. From George Marks Elementary, Destiny Loreno. From DeLand Middle School, Samantha Cox. From Southwestern Middle School, Logan Busher. From DeLand High School, Dylan Adonisio, Joey Becker, Kenny Browning, Josh Freeman, Vicki Horton, Cecilia Labalita, Reese Winjack. From University High School, Joshua Chappell, Samantha Clark, Destin Hoskins, and Nate Peterson. Let's give these students a great round of applause. From District 2, Ms. Wright. From Silver Sands Middle School, Marley Watson, Maya Watson. From Atlantic High School, Ashley Benton, Kyle Borge. And from Mainland High School, Peyton Ford, Taylor Ford. Let's give them a hand. They're coming.
Here comes Mims.
From District 3, Linda Cuthbert. From Creekside Middle School, Catherine Bichet. From New Smyrna Beach Middle School, Sienna Burns. From Spruce Creek High School, Ethan Avila, Crystal Fuller, Brenda Wang, Emma Murray, Autumn Rundle, Matt Turner, and David Trujillo. From District 4, Mr. Persis. From Hinson Middle School, Amelia Jones, Laura Pagdanganen. From Ormond Beach Middle School, Brianna Blackwood, Brian Blackwood, Hannah Blakes, Isabella Chase, Justice Deweese, Tiffany Wynn, Esther Kim,
My phone's up here so I can keep track of time.
Jillian Lautzenheiser, Christine Noem, Maya Palacios, Ashley Reeb. From Seabreeze High School, Ethan Burke, Faith Hannon, Ben Kuftik.
It's 5 o'clock. We can do a 10-minute break, yes.
Yeah. Good showing.
Now I gotcha.
Great. I'm on the ballot. Yeah, oh, really? They confirmed it?
And from District 5, Melody Johnson. From Osteen Elementary School, Kaylee Davis. From Heritage Middle School, Amaya Harris. From Pine Ridge High School, Kitty Daniel and Austin Regovic. And from Deltona High School, Sierra White and Athena Turner.
It's over $1,600. It's a lot. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. We'll do these first. Okay. Sure.
And as always, Mr. Russell, board members, on behalf of the students of Volusia County Schools, board members, we thank you for your continued support of all of our arts programs in the visual and the performing arts. We are so very thankful for the opportunity for these students. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, 4.01, public participation. We will now have public participation concerning items on our agenda and items of general interest of education to Volusia County Schools. We have about 4 or 5. What I will do is I'll announce the first one to come forward to the, I think it's the dais right here in front of the stage, and then I'll call the second person so the second person is ready to come to the front. First one is Joanna Alaviari. The second after her will be Andrew Spar.
Hi, Joanna Caney Oliveri, 22 Minnow Drive, Ormond Beach. I would just like to briefly address the administrative appointments that this district does. I would like to see actually, and my contact information is on the yellow card. I would really love some information sent to me on how so many moves with such volume and frequency benefit our teachers, our students, and our families, because I don't think that they do. I don't think moving a teacher every few years is beneficial to any school. I don't think it's beneficial to our students or our parents. At Pine Trail Elementary, we are going to have our 4th assistant principal in 4 years. They can't establish a community when they're moved back and forth. If you were going to buy a product from a business and the CEO was a revolving front door, would you have faith in the product? I don't think so. It's unfortunate because especially in today's day where we have such an emphasis on safety, I don't want a new principal every few years at my school. I want my principal to be there to know the ins and outs in every square inch of that school to make sure that my children and all the children are safe. I want them to know every back door, every window, every path that can be taken into that school, and I want it to be safe. I want consistency and stability for our students. I want that for our teachers. I don't understand how we have to, why we make as many moves as we do every single year, multiple times a year. I understand that we're replacing an area superintendent, but does that mean we have to rearrange 150 other positions? Like you guys just did 3 pages of appointments a few months ago, or maybe last month. And now we're here gonna do more. It's disruptive to our students. I said to my daughter today, I said, well, your principal's moving. Oh my gosh, Mom, I love my principal. My principal, I think, loves me. I think he does too, and I think it's sad because the most important things that our kids need right now is stability, and that is provided by our leaders at our schools. I just wish that we would reconsider, and I really would love the evidence that supports the amount of frequency and volume of these moves is beneficial. I don't think it will, I don't think you'll find it.
Thank you. Andrew Spar, and after Andrew Spar, Daniel Elliott.
And good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Russell, members of the audience, Andrew Spar, 1 Marianne Terrace in Ormond Beach, President of the Volusia United Educators. We are very fortunate. We have a bunch of great, dedicated teachers and staff who go above and beyond on a regular basis. However, they often have little say in what goes on in their classroom. There are programs that our district mandates from various aspects of our district that teachers must use. Some of the remediation programs that they use, some of the Title I programs that they use. And last night in a conference call I had with a lot of our members, 87% of them said they did not feel valued in our district right now. I point that out because one of the things we continue to hear is that as a district, we don't have a lot of say as to what goes on. And we should blame Tallahassee. And while there is plenty of blame to place on Tallahassee, I also think we need to look at what control we do have here, and specifically you have here in this district. I'm sorry, I'm using two programs here. So one thing I wanted to say to you as we talk about this is that you actually have more control over the budget than our teachers have in their classrooms. And so as you're looking at things and making decisions as a board as to what needs to be done, one of our members actually said this last night. The vision statement we have Volusia County does not end with, is contingent upon funding from Tallahassee. And yet that's what we continue to hear. Everything is contingent upon funding from Tallahassee. I would encourage you to look at the priorities that we set in this district and then address those priorities in how we handle our budget and what we do in that way. I'll also encourage you to look at the non-financial issues that we have in our district, how we can better support the teachers and staff in our schools, how we can reduce the stress and pressure that people are under. To me, the question is not whether our district has been dealt a bad hand. We know we have. The legislature continues to underfund it and put a lot of barriers in our place in what we do. The question is really, how do we respond to the bad hand we've been dealt? And that is the responsibility of all of you sitting up there, the people who work in our schools, and the community as a whole. And that's what I would encourage you to think about. And last, I'll leave with this one other statement because it's been mentioned several times. We are in negotiations, and negotiations is about what we're going to change and do differently. And so while things have been agreed to at times past, obviously when you come back to the table to negotiate, you're looking at the circumstances we face today, the situations we have now, and re-looking at what is in the contract. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a point of returning to the table to negotiate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spar. Daniel Elliott, and next is Kira Pinyar, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
Hi, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the school board, members of the board, Mr. Russell, Madam Chairwoman, for allowing us to speak today. This idea of civic activism is really what makes our country so special. My name is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Elliott. I'm the cadet group commander for our Air Force JROTC unit at DeLand High School. Our unit designation is FL023, and we have about 160 cadets. So, and as we only have 2 instructors, that's our limit. So the Air Force rules limit the size of the corps to 90 per instructor. And so if you can, if we do the math, that's 90 times 2 is 180. And we're at the limit right now, and that's just this year. Which is why we're asking for the approval of funding for a 3rd instructor. To give additional information, we have the approval from the county and the Air Force for an additional instructor, and the Air Force has agreed to pay for half of the salary. And so now we're waiting on approval of appropriations. Next year, we have confirmed 110 new 8th graders who will put JROTC on their schedule for next year at DeLand High School. And many more 100 current freshmen wishing to return, and many more upperclassmen wishing to come back and experience our program again. Which means that we will either need to put about dozens of our cadets on the waiting list or tell dozens of rising cadets that are coming from middle schools that they need to pick another program for next year, which is heartbreaking. Many times I'm the one that has to go to them and tell them they don't have a job or that they're not welcome back in the program and we're not giving them another chance. So we have to find a balance between the two right now. But even with that balance, there are still too many great students being turned down. I know my cadets, and I couldn't see so many deserving cadets being told that we're not giving them another chance. And it simply isn't fair to revoke a promise we made to them, which was to develop citizens of character dedicated to serving their nation and their community here in DeLand, or in the county. And the same thing is to be said about the dozens of 8th graders we'll have to turn away next year. I know exactly what JROTC does for its cadets. I'm a product of JROTC from all 4 years, and I see what it does to the community. You see we're a family, and you see success stories all throughout our ranks. I apologize. For me, if it weren't for ROTC, I wouldn't be able to come up here and speak to you. It's really brought me out of my shell. And I can give you another story. Mr. Russell, one of my cadets I serve with personally, he's the vice chairman of the NAACP for the county, junior NAACP. And he's been able to speak to you, and I've been able to meet many of you in a different capacity. So our cadets really strive for success outside of JROTC and in it as well. And so I thank you again for listening. Again, we do have the approval, we just need appropriation. That's why I'm coming to you. I urge you all to support FLO 23 in our efforts to receive funding for that additional instructor. It's so important to the community and to me. Thank you.
Mr. Elliott, we have your name for the record, but we also need your address, sir.
Sure, I believe I put it on the
Well, you need to state it.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
2769 Bayonne Court, Deltona, Florida, zip code 32725, District 5.
Okay, thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you.
And Kara Pinar. And then last is Kate Spillane. Please state your name and your address.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Kyra Pinar. I am a cadet master sergeant in DeLand High School ROTC. So my address is 418 North Boston Avenue, DeLand, Florida, 32724. And I would like to thank you for listening. And I remember really ROTC has brought me out of my shell as well when I was in middle school, and I'm only a sophomore now. And just in 2 years' time, I'm standing in front of you guys, being able to do this. I know if I look back last year even, I couldn't do this at all. I would have a panic attack and I'd run out of the room. But ROTC has done a lot for me as a person, not only as a student and a citizen. You know, it really helped develop me to have all these morals and values that I have now. Our program is really about dedication and service to our community and our nation. We value excellence in all we do, service before self and integrity first. I can see that every year our program is growing. And I have an example, a cadet of mine who's a freshman this year, rising sophomore. She came in with a GPA of under a 2.0. She now has above a 3.0 GPA. You know, there's significant improvement that we can do in consistency and all these differences we can make in children's lives, which, I mean, I don't know, but what I've witnessed, we need that a lot. And I think this is just a small step in the right direction. We need to be able to reach out to more students, and with this third instructor, we have the ability to do so. I mean, of course, it'll bring our numbers up to have more cadets in, you know, but I expect the program to keep growing even after that, which would be amazing. Let alone this year, we've completed over 4,000 community service hours alone with all of our cadets. We've had so many community service events, including toiletry bags for the homeless and passing them out and making them. We've done a 22 lap march around our track to help support the 22 average veterans who commit suicide every day. We recognize the problems in our community and we work to fix it. And with that, it makes us better as people. So we ask of you, thank you, one, but we please ask you to consider with the operations of our third instructor. So not only can we make a difference in our community, but we can make better leaders in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kate Spillane.
Hello.
Hi. State your name and address, please, for the record.
Kate Spellesy, 431 South Blue Lake Avenue, DeLand, Florida, 32724. You want me to start now?
Oh, yes, please do. Yes, you have 4 minutes to speak.
Okay, I'm going to start with middle school wasn't easy for me. I remember I was very quiet and I had maybe one close friend and I couldn't even do a presentation in front of a class or read a book out loud. The first time I ever noticed AFJROTC in our community was the parades. I saw their uniforms and was immediately drawn to it. I never thought joining the class would make me who I am today. I would not have been able to stand up in front of all these people. Another memory I have is freshman orientation. I saw the colonel trying to recruit cadets and was immediately drawn to what he had to say. Without a doubt, one of the best decisions I've made was putting AFJROTC as number 1 on my elective choice. In my 2 years, I've accomplished over 140 community service hours and over 4,000 hours as a corps, and that's just this year. We learn skills for more than just an end-of-course exam. We learn life skills that help us plan our future. Most of us already have our lives planned out by junior year or earlier. Most of my friends outside of ROTC don't even know what a scholarship is or that you have to apply to get into a college. AFJROTC is not just a class you go to for 50 minutes a day. We have events almost every weekend and there's always something going on after school, whether that be drill or Kitty Hawk, which is our program to help tutor cadets. One weekend we came here to Mainland for the first drill competition we've attended and placed in 22 years. Wow. The community of DeLand and beyond that knows us very well. If I have an ROTC shirt on, people know that they can trust me to be responsible. One day we were doing an event and someone asked us to watch their kid while they're in the bathroom, so that just shows like strangers even trust us with their children. Our AFJROTC core values are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do, and that's exactly what we do every single day, and every single cadet does the same. We've accomplished so much this year and we want to keep doing what we're doing. With a third instructor, we can do that and so much more. And there's 110 eager cadets who want to be a part of our team. And that's 100 more leaders who want to make a difference in themselves and their community and others' lives. And that's why we're here speaking on behalf of our corps to get approval for a third instructor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for yours. That concludes public participation. We will now take a 10-minute break. We will reconvene at 5:30. Thank you.
You gotta go out there.
did not hear me?
We need Mr. Dorn and Mr. Persis up on stage so we can continue.
You see him?
No.
Ted Dorn, call Percy. Let's go. Thank you.
If they put the screen down, it might give me a concussion. I guess that's me. Well, no.
Your mic's not on.
5.01, approval of the consent agenda. Mr. Russell, do we have any removals from the consent agenda?
No, Madam Chair.
Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Okay, a motion has been made to approve the consent agenda by Mrs. Wright and seconded by Dr. Hill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Motion is carried. Let's see, 14.01. We already did that. 15.01, Superintendent's announcements.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our high school graduations will be scheduled as follows. Thursday, May 31st, 2018, it's a graduation of Taylor, which will be held at the Stetson University Edmonds Center. All the rest of the graduations will be held at the Ocean Center. On Friday, June 1st, 2018, at 4 p.m., Mainland High School. That evening at 7:30 p.m. will be Seabreeze High School. Saturday, June 2nd, 2018, at 9 a.m., Pine Ridge, 12:30 p.m. Spruce Creek, 4 p.m. New Smyrna Beach, 7:30 p.m. DeLand High. Sunday, June 3rd, 2018, at 12 p.m. Deltona High School, 3:30 p.m. Atlantic, and 7 p.m. University. Memorial Day holiday will be Monday, May 28th, 2018. Schools and district offices will be closed. The Chisholm groundbreaking will be Tuesday, May 29th at 9 a.m. at Chisholm Elementary School. The last day of school for students will be Wednesday, May 30th, 2018. The Bus Brigade for Principal of the Year and Outstanding Achievement Award winners will be Thursday, May 31st, 2018. The last day of school for teachers will be Friday, June 1st, 2018. The 4-day, 10-hour work weeks for 12-month employees will begin June 4th and will carry through till August 3rd, 2018. All schools and offices will be closed on Fridays, with the exception of July 4th week. Wednesday, July 4th, 2018 will be the mandatory close day, and the remaining 4 days that week will be 10-hour days. The school board work session will be Thursday, June 7th at 8:30 a.m. in the boardroom at the DeLand Administrative Complex. The budget workshop will be Tuesday, June 12th, 2018 at 4 p.m. in the boardroom at the DeLand Administrative Complex, and will be followed by the regular school board meeting at 5:30 p.m. That concludes my announcements, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. 16.01, Superintendent's presentation.
Madam Chair, we can just move forward with 1701.
Administrative appointments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This will be done by Ms. Dana Page Pinder.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Russell. It's my privilege to present the following superintendent's recommendations for administrative appointments. At this time, I would like to present the recommendation of assistant principal transfers. Alan Canetti from New Smyrna Beach Middle School to assistant principal at Spruce Creek High School. Sabra Farajala from DeLand Middle School to assistant principal at New Smyrna Beach Middle School. Ryan Mahaney from Spruce Creek High School to assistant principal at DeLand Middle School. Michelle Miles from Spirit Elementary to assistant principal at Timbercrest Elementary School. Jamie Robinson from Pride Elementary School to assistant principal at Spirit Elementary School. And Lonnie Tidmarsh from Timbercrest Elementary School to principal intern at Pride Elementary School.
The superintendent recommends approval of these administrative transfers.
Do I hear a motion for these administrative transfers?
Second.
It has been moved by Mr. Persis and seconded by Dr. Hill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Motion is carried. Mr. Superintendent. Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Paige Pender, sorry.
At this time, I'd like to present the superintendent's recommendation for assistant principal appointment. Ms. Melissa Frayne, from teacher on assignment at University High School to assistant principal of University High School. Ms. Frayne began her career with Volusia County Schools in 1999. Ms. Frayne's areas of certification are in educational leadership, elementary education, ESOL, and reading.
The superintendent recommends approval of this administrative appointment.
May I have a motion for this administrative appointment?
So moved. Second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Johnson and seconded by Mrs. Wright to approve this assistant principal appointment. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Motion is carried.
Yes, she is.
Congratulations.
I would like to present the superintendent's recommendation for principal transfers. Ms. Lynn Bruner from South Daytona Elementary School to principal at Osceola Elementary School. Ms. Bruner began her career with Volusia County Schools in 2015. Ms. Bruner's areas of certification are in principal and severe learning disability. Ms. Karen Chenoweth from New Smyrna High School to principal at Galaxy Middle School. Ms. Chenoweth began her career with Volusia County Schools in 1995. Ms. Chenoweth's areas of certification are in educational leadership and social science. Elizabeth Johnson from New Smyrna Beach Middle School to principal at Pride Elementary School. Ms. Johnson began her career with Volusia County Schools in 2001. Ms. Johnson's areas of certification are in educational leadership, elementary education, principal, and gifted. Carrie Corcus from Pride Elementary School to principal at Spirit Elementary School. Ms. Corcus began her career with Volusia County Schools in 2001. Ms. Corcus's area of certification are in educational leadership, elementary education, pre-K, and primary. Matthew Krajewski from Ormond Beach Middle School to principal at New Smyrna Beach High School. Mr. Krajewski began his career with Volusia County Schools in 1982. Mr. Krajewski's areas of certification are in educational leadership, physical education, and principal. And Dr. Julie Roseboom from George Marks Elementary School to principal at Tomoka Elementary School. Dr. Roseboom began her career with Volusia County Schools in 1987. Dr. Roseboom's areas of certification are in emotionally handicapped, mentally handicapped, principal, and severe learning disabilities. Ms. Susan Tootin from Tomoka Elementary School to principal at Ormond Beach Middle School. Ms. Tootin began her career with Volusia County Schools in 1988. Ms. Tootin's areas of certification are in educational leadership, elementary education, principal, and ESOL. Ms. Shannon Young from Spirit Elementary School to principal at George Marks Elementary School. Ms. Young began her career with Volusia County Schools in 1996. Her areas of certification are in educational leadership, varying exceptionalities, and ESOL.
The superintendent recommends approval of these administrative transfers.
You have heard the superintendent recommend these principal transfers. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
It has been moved by Mr. Persis and seconded by Dr. Hill to approve these principal transfers. All those who are in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion is carried. Congratulations.
It gives me great pleasure to share the following superintendent's recommendation for administrative appointment. Ms. Patricia Kaur, principal at Galaxy Middle, to the position of area superintendent effective February 1st, 2019. From July 1, 2018 until January 31, 2019, she will serve in the capacity of Coordinator for Master Scheduling. Ms. Kaur began her career with Volusia County Schools in 1999. She has served in the position of Principal Intern, Assistant Principal, Teacher on Assignment, and Teacher. Ms. Kaur received her master's degree from Stetson University and her bachelor's degree from Bethune-Cookman University. Her certifications are in the area of educational leadership, principal, history, and social science.
The superintendent recommends approval of this administrative appointment.
You've heard the superintendent recommend this administrative appointment. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Johnson and seconded by Mrs. Wright. All those who approve of this motion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Motion is carried. Congratulations.
At this time, we will have Ms. Kaur come forward and share a few words.
Thank you, Dana. Good evening, Madam Chair Cuthbert, distinguished board members, and Superintendent Russell. It is with great honor that I stand before you today to accept the position of Area Superintendent. It is also fitting that we are at Mainland High School, where I began my career in 1999, and to whom I am eternally grateful for starting me on this journey. This part's going to be hard. To my Galaxy family, 5 years ago, you welcomed me with open arms, and I asked you to trust me and go on this journey with me. At every turn, you exceeded my expectations and allowed me to become the leader I am today. Without followers, there is no leader. Without you, there is no me. I know you will continue to take great care of our students and each other. People who know me hear me say this all the time, and they say we know. I am a great advocate for public education, but most importantly, Volusia County Schools, where I'm a proud graduate. I've spent most of my life with Volusia County Schools, either as a student, K through 12, or as an employee. And my tenure here with this great institution has allowed me to hone my leadership skills, which I am so thrilled to bring to this new position. First and foremost, I am always a teacher. No matter what other job titles I've had or corresponding responsibilities or other duties as assigned, I keep teaching and learning at the forefront of my practice. Through teaching, coaching, feedback, and through PLCs, I have empowered teachers to become teacher leaders and administrators, and I have mentored assistant principals who have become principals. I truly believe in my soul that in order to provide the best for each and every student, we must never stop teaching and learning. I am so excited to bring this philosophy and practice to a broader landscape while working with administrators to hone their personal and professional development. To my fellow principals, I am looking forward to engaging in this important work with you and seeing how together we can affect change and have a positive impact on all students, so they too can one day say that they are proud graduates of Volusia County Schools. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
I told her she could leave early and go get a steak dinner tonight.
18.01, student discipline. Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This will be presented by Ms. Stephanie Workman. Yeah.
Good evening, Chairman Cuthbert, school board members, and Mr. Russell. Today we have 2 requests concerning student discipline. For the first request, a recommendation is made to the superintendent that he requests the board extend the suspension on student Alpha ID 1SCJY, 1QIGV, 1 QWUI, 1 VIIG, 1 RJWU, 1 VELB, 1 QFYZ, 1 QEGV, 1 QTUB, 1 RNYA, 1 SRVK, 1 QLNG, 1 PJCS, 1 QLPC, 1 UTXF, 1 SZDJ, and 1 SAXZ from school attendance through May 30th, 2018 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
The superintendent recommends the board extend the suspension of the aforementioned students from school attendance through May 30th, 2018 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
Is there a motion to approve the student discipline regarding attendance?
So moved. Second.
It has been moved by Dr. Hill and seconded by Mrs. Johnson. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Motion is carried.
For the second request, a recommendation is made to the superintendent that he requests the board extend the suspension of students Alpha ID 1RZZQ, 1SUGX, and 1ORUV for school-sponsored transportation through May 30th, 2018 for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
The superintendent recommends the board extend the suspension of the aforementioned students for the purpose of further study and evaluation.
Mr. Russell has asked us to approve student discipline regarding transportation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay, it has been moved by Mrs. Johnson and seconded by Dr. Hill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. The motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, 19.01, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This will be an update on the School Safety Officer Program. Senate Bill 7026 focuses on two primary areas, that's mental health and school safety officers. And at the last meeting, I let everyone know that Mr. Aiken was leading the charge on the school safety officer issue. And what we have done is we've had a committee that was made up of principals, district staff, parents, very informed parents, by the way, and captains and lieutenants from the Volusia County Sheriff's Department to actually try to help us hammer out our plan for the SRO and SRDs, and then also school marshals. I'll be unequivocally clear that Volusia County Schools would prefer municipal police officers and sheriff's deputies, but there were two barriers. One is Senate Bill 7026 is partially funded by the state legislature. And then also the sheriff department and the municipal police departments are severely understaffed currently. Last week, as you all know, we went in before the mayor's roundtable and gave the nutshell of our plan. Our objective in this presentation is to go through our plans for the school safety officer, have question and answers, and then bring this back for your approval at the next school board meeting on June 12th. Mr. Aiken.
Madam Chair, Mr. Russell, board members, thank you very much. Mr. Russell took all of my thunder right up front here. I'm just joking. We did hold a meeting on May 9th, and I do appreciate the two parents, the two principals, and all the other staff that were there to help us kind of work through this process. As you know, Senate Bill 7026 was kind of drafted within about 2 weeks and then approved and then became law March 9th. It actually has four parts. One part is nothing more than FDOE, Department of Education, establishing safe schools and then having some requirements there. The other three kind of tie into all of us here locally in our school district. The first part, part one, is for law enforcement. And that part actually looks at the legislation, gives Leo the tools to enhance public safety by restricting firearm possession of persons in a mental health crisis. And so they have lots of things they have to do from that standpoint. It gave them some good tools. The second part of this bill really kind of breaks down into mental health And our student services staff, along with myself and several others, have been working on a plan that you will hear probably next month in a board meeting about mental health. And that's going to deal with some of the requirements currently coming down the line in 7026 that we're now required to do based on these requirements. The third part, or actually fourth in my case, would be the school marshal program and other requirements that we're going to briefly go over this evening. I'm going to try to fill in all the gaps where we are currently now and where we will be by the time the deadlines come around. This is a quick overview of my presentation this evening. I'm going to touch briefly on each one of these 11 areas that have concerns that we have to meet deadlines on. Some of those are currently in place right now that we're working on, and others you will be hearing for the first time this evening where we are, and then our proposals are what we're looking forward to in the near future. We're going to start off with Office of Safe Schools, and that's the first one I talked about earlier, that their requirements, they will be, and they have been, the OPAGA, if you remember that before, the Office of Programs, Policies, and Governmental Accountability, was always required to have best practices for the state of Florida, and school districts were to monitor that and then present to the board recommendations and then move forward with your security plan. Nothing new there. What's new is that they will establish and update schools a security risk assessment tool that they just released 2 weeks ago to us, and the deadline to complete that would be August 1st. I can tell you my team has already went through that. We went through the draft. I gave some recommendations to the state. They made a few of those recommendations, and now we are pushing forward to getting that assessment done in a timely manner to meet that deadline. The next one is develop and implement the school safety specialist training program. That has not been completed yet or shared with us. I think the state is still working on that currently right now. As you know, the school safety specialists will be required within the next 12 months to do not only online but traditional classroom instruction to be certified as a school safety specialist. And this evening you did appoint a new school safety specialist for the school district. Fourth thing is review and provide recommendations on security risk assessments. Based on the assessment that we're going to complete by August 1st, they're going to review that, and our school safety specialist will then make recommendations prior to December 1st of this year on changes that need to be made based on the assessment tool that the state has given us. They will also be the point of contact for our integrated data repository and then data analytic resources. So from a statewide standpoint, currently now you know we are part of Central Florida Intelligence Exchange. They'll be a part of that as well, and we'll be getting more intel based on the state of Florida and where we are. The last one is number 6, and they're still putting out some information, and they are working on disseminating awareness and educational resources for us to use to educate not only our staff and our faculty and board members, but also our students, and that's going to be on active threat, gun violence, and also hostage situations. So that's going to come down the line, and that's going to be in place for K through 12, something new this year. So that's their requirement that they will be moving forward with, hopefully fairly soon. The really section that we want to look at and really impacts not only Volusia County but all counties is Section 24 of Senate Bill 7026. The first one, and I know Student Services will be doing a presentation, our first couple of these, but the first one is student disclosure of mental health referrals at registration. So if we receive a student from another school district and they come here and they have been referred to mental health, the parents are now to give us that information at registration time frame. Obviously it would be confidential in nature. We'd follow all the protocols that would be forthcoming in that arena. The superintendent may, and this is something new for us this year, may refer students to mental health services when appropriate. So if they make or pose a threat for the school district, we can at that point in time refer that student for mental health services. Student code of conduct policy needs to be changed on several arenas. One of those would be zero tolerance and what zero tolerance really means. And then the second one would be on these mental health referrals and what that's going to look like. The state is now currently looking at and getting proposals on an anonymous reporting system. Currently we use Crime Stoppers, but it will be a statewide reporting, anonymous reporting system put in place for every district, any student in the state of Florida, anybody basically in the state of Florida that understands that there's a threat or poses a threat, can't report that to the state, then it comes back to local law enforcement, the school district to handle. The other one is requires districts to have active shooter and hostage situation drills. We currently do that right now. We have that plan. We've been having that. We had that plan for the last 14 years, and we always do bomb threat and all of that with our students. The only one we don't do and have not done is active shooter training and hostage situations with students there. Senate Bill 7026 now requires us to do those with students, educate the students, and then perform those drills on how we're going to respond to active shooters with our students present as often as other drills. So to be once a quarter. So first semester, second semester, we'll be doing an active shooter hostage situation drill with all of our students after we educate them. School safety specialist for the district, like I mentioned earlier, that person has been identified. There are some requirements that they will have to get complete prior to be certified within the next year. And there's many roles and responsibilities I'll kind of get into in just a few minutes that are going to take place. Obviously, the superintendent, we do that today, but we do craft district policies on violent prevention and intervention. We have that today. We do a lot of that, but there's some more coming down the line for us as well. Establish a school level threat assessment team. Currently, we have at each one of our campuses a school security, safety and security team that identifies and works through any emergencies that happen on a campus. This is nothing more than a basic name change, what they're called today compared to what they're going to be called in the future. There are some specific requirements that they're going to have to do, so any student that poses a threat or makes a threat on campus, this team comes together to evaluate that threat and then gets law enforcement involved if need be down the line. And the last one is law enforcement walking our campuses. As you know, we do this annually. This requirement says every 3 years. We do it not only with law enforcement, but with fire department and EMS and our emergency operations center as well. Safe Schools Officer. Now this has been called the School Resource Deputy, School Resource Officers. Now it's going to be called the Safe School Officer. That they're changing the name. It's the same program that's currently in place today, but it's the same program we have in place. Currently, we have 26 law enforcement officers on our schools, in our school system currently today. What Section 26 has done currently now is now required each district and each school to have at least one armed person on each campus, including charter schools. That armed person, whether it be a school safety officer or a school guardian, will be required to undergo a criminal background check, a drug testing, and a psychological evaluation conducted by the sheriff department. So he's the one that would be managing and running this program under Senate Bill 7026. Like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be additional training for extensive training. Extensive training for our school resource officers, our Safe Schools officers on mental health crisis intervention and training. That same training will be required for any school guardian if we so choose to move in that direction. One of the options, there are 3 options that we currently have. What we currently have in place today is we do have 13 Volusia County school officers, our deputies, that are in our schools today. Our recommendation that you will hear again on June 12th would be going from 13 to 17 Volusia County Sheriff officers. Currently, we have in place with our municipalities, Ormond Beach has 1 school resource officer. Now it's going to be called Safe School Officer. Daytona Beach PD has 10. We're going to recommend 11 for next year. Those are at our high schools, middle schools, and we're fortunate enough to have them in our elementary schools currently. South Daytona had a grant as well that we are recommending keeping that officer there. And DeLand Police Department brought on board 1 officer for DeLand High School, which started in January. They have now hired a second one and for a DeLand Middle School for next school year. When we total all of that up, that's going to be 32 Safe School officers which have arrest authority, not only on campus but off campus as well. The School Guardian Program is the third one that you see on the slide here, and that's the School Marshal Program. School Guardians are those that would have, if we move in that direction, and I know it would be a board decision in June, would be what it says, that 7026 basically says it has to be a current employee. What we're recommending is what we call School Guardian Plus. And the School Guardian Plus is us establishing a new job description specifically for school guardians. No current employees, whether they're teachers or anyone else that we currently have, they could apply for this position, but their sole job and responsibility would be the school marshal program security on our remaining 38 campuses that we would need, and that's how many we would need for that. Our advertisement would go out. We would look at retired law enforcement officers, military, whether they're current on reserve or retired military, that meet the criteria, corrections officers, a beach patrol. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a basic job description kind of being drafted right now. We will bring that forward at a later date. School marshal program, just a little bit more. It's a voluntary program. The school district, between the sheriff and the superintendent and the school board, can move in that direction. It's a partnership between the two. Just so everybody's very clear, the sheriff would be running the program. It's still a safe school officer program. The difference between the old SRO and SRDs is they can arrest. The school guardians cannot. Their sole purpose is to deter active assailant incidents on campuses. That's what they're there for. There is extensive training, which I'll go over in just a few minutes, that these newly hired employees would be doing. And they would perform other duties, and it will not be teachers, it won't be anybody else. So they would be sole responsibility would be security. The training right now is 132 hours, extensive training, 80 hours firearm instruction using the criminal justice standards, which the law enforcement officers go through currently today. And the employee, the school guardian under the Marshall program, would have to have an 85% pass rate. That's what the current school resource officers and deputies have to pass as well. 16 hours would be precision pistol shooting. 8 hours would be state-of-the-art simulator exercises they would go through. They would have 8 hours instruction in active shooter and assailant scenarios, 8 hours instruction in defensive tactics, and then 12 hours of instruction in legal issues. As the basic, they would also have 12 hours of diversity training that would be nationally recognized, that would be provided to not only the school guardians, but also our school resource deputies. And another training that I mentioned earlier that they would have would be the mental health piece as well, that they're going to have to go through and take those courses. There would be ongoing annual safety training, security training, and weapons inspections. To include, they have to have a firearm requalification annually. And all of this program is currently funded through the state of Florida. Through the sheriff department would get the funding for the training of all of these school guardians from the state. So it wouldn't cost the district any money to get them currently trained. I mentioned earlier that we have to look at the policy of zero tolerance for crime and victimization. There are 3 basic components to that. And briefly tonight, the school board will adopt a policy of zero tolerance. We already have that in our school board policy 208, but we need to redefine that based on the new criteria. As I mentioned earlier, the threat assessment team will consult with law enforcement on 2 cases. Number 1, if a student or an adult exhibits a pattern of behavior that poses a threat to school safety, they must consult with law enforcement. If a student commits or an adult commits more than 1 misdemeanor, then law enforcement must be intervened to assist at that point in time. From a school district standpoint, we have to explore alternatives to expulsion and referral to law enforcement by the following reasons: restitution, civil citation, teen court, neighborhood restorative justice, and similar programs that are currently out there now. We are looking at some training programs with Sandy Hook Promise that we'll be bringing forward later that would also assist us in educating our students on gun violence, reporting, say something to report, and a couple of other programs. The Safe Schools, Florida Safe Schools assessment tool, like I mentioned earlier, was just released 2 weeks ago. Briefly, what it's going to do, what we're kind of going through right now, is the district is required to use the safe security assessment, and we have to fill that out, and the deadline's by August 1st. What it's supposed to do is help identify threats, vulnerabilities, and security controls that we currently have in place, and any shortfalls we may have. Any shortfalls we have throughout the district at each one of our campuses then would be identified, and that would be a recommendation coming back into this board to be able to put into place to be able to secure that campus. Also requires that components are met and findings reported to DOE annually so they can keep track to see where we are. One of the benefits here is they are going to, after August 1st, if each school district meets the criteria on establishing the assessment, have the opportunity to put in for grant money to be able to offset some of the costs on implementing some of the requirements we have. Now, obviously, our security plans, along with this assessment, would be exempt from public records, and that's 119.07, parentheses 1, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to know all that. So there are several things that we have to do, including looking at review of support services, roles and responsibilities, looking at return on investments, which is going to be a key factor there for physical security controls, and looking at security, crime and violent prevention policies and procedures, and training that we're going to be providing not only to our students, but our faculty as well to identify threats. Here's the timeline. Like I mentioned, this bill was put together in about 2 weeks and passed, and now it's law, and we have to follow this. The first timeline is July 1st, and next board meeting, we will be bringing forward a recommendation to this board to do a hybrid School Guardian Plus program for our school guardians. And we have to identify that for our district and report that to the state by July 1st. We've already met the requirement for the school safety specialist. That individual's name will be forwarded to the state so we can meet that requirement shortly. The next date is August 1st, and that's the security risk assessment tool that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. Each school is required to do their own assessment, and so we have 70 schools and 8 charter schools, and each one is required to do their own assessment of their campus. What we are doing is trying to get the first half of it, maybe a little bit more than half, is nothing more than from a district standpoint, what's in place, what contracts do you have, how many law enforcement, et cetera. We're going to fill a lot of that out for each one of the school districts in our schools for our school district, and then pull the other information to fill that out to make sure we complete that by August 1st. We will have to identify by name, by school, the threat assessment team, and then we will provide additional training specifically for that team on their roles and responsibilities moving forward for that campus. At the start of school, like I mentioned earlier, at least one armed person must be on each one of our campuses starting the first day of school. And then active shooter training, like I mentioned earlier, has to be conducted, including the training, and then as often as other drills, and then, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be first semester and second semester. Currently, right now, this is what we have. We have the haves and what we need, basically now, and by city, municipalities, what we currently have it at right now. And that's a good overview of what we currently have and what we need. We show in 44 needs currently right now. Like I mentioned earlier, we asked the Volusia County Sheriff's Department to provide 4 additional. They've agreed. We're working on that contract now. DeLand PD is going to bring another one on board, school resource officer, and same with Daytona Beach. So that's just kind of showing you where we are right now. We are going to reach out to the charter schools, each one of the 8 charter schools, and allow them to piggyback. They have the same requirements, okay? So we're going to allow them to piggyback off of what our recommendation is to you June 12th. If they wish to come into an agreement with us to hire a person, which would be a school guardian, and be trained through the Sheriff's Department and follow all of that, we would work with that contract with them. If they wish to contract with the municipality or the Sheriff's Department to provide that, they're more than welcome to do that. They're under the same criteria as we are. We've already talked about this, and I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time here, but we do have some security, based on half and sales tax, some security measures already in place. The visitor management system, which is one of the things that's required for us to know in times of emergencies, is in place. We're going to briefly talk about fencing, security cameras, and then cipher locks. Here in just a few minutes, I want to give you an update where we currently are from the last time I spoke. As you know, the panic button system for all of our teachers, we are doing a pilot all year for every school next year, which is going to include more than just the panic button. It's also going to give us alert on our computers. So we're looking at making sure that our staff, if there's an issue, they get notified immediately. I already mentioned about the threat assessment team. That's a school level, and we do meet the law enforcement requirement there. Other recommendations that I've received from the here when we had the public meeting and from other emails that I've received and other conversations I had with others, these are some recommendations, basically the top that came through that I've heard the most. One of those is changing all of the glass on every one of our campuses with bulletproof glass. That's not practical, it's not cost efficient for us, and we don't have the money to do that. But we do have some plans later down the line to have some laminate put on our windows. Therefore, when the light's on, you can see out and in. The lights are off, you can't see in. So we do have some of that. Panic button, we already talked about. Door locking mechanisms is another process that, a recommendation that they've made. We have heard metal detectors and wands and place those on your entrances coming into campuses. Currently right now, and I know all of you have been at campuses, you can see how many entrances we have to that. Each one of the metal detectors is about $6,800. A wand's about $1,000 or $1,200. And so that's cost, right now it's a high cost for us. Fencing and gates, we are going to move forward. I'll give you that update. One of the good recommendations that we had, and as you know, Polk County just recently said the last weeks of school, and we do that some here, is clear backpacks or no backpacks, what they have. So we will be bringing that forward to you as well. Bag searches, currently right now, if we have just cause, we're allowed to look inside the bag. That might be a recommendation to you to consider that in our pupil policy 208 to saying that we can search bags. Lanyards for middle and high school students, just like we wear ID badges every day. The recommendation was that our middle and high school students all wear badges as well. So we can readily identify students that have the badge. They should be there. We know the student is there. And then limit the number of locations to enter the campuses. As you know, we are going to single point access. We are hardening our campuses, not only from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint as well. We've talked about this, and I want to give you an update right now. Fencing project, and we appreciate the emergency order that you all allowed us to go out and try to move this very quickly. We actually have 30 campuses completed to date right now. We have another 67 sites that have been already reviewed. Those plans are being developed right now, and then we are going out to actually start putting those in place. We are spending a little over $2 million, right at $2 million to complete that. I think we'll get it done before the 12-month time frame. What set us back the last 2 weeks is Mother Nature. So when Mother Nature has that, sets us back. I know at home I wanted to do some fence work this weekend, but as soon as I started digging a hole, about a foot down, it's full of water. So you can't do anything when it's raining. Our entry control systems, we've done some of this already, and this is our cipher locks. This is our buzzers to buzz in to the campuses. We'll be moving forward with that. As soon as our fencing project is done, we're moving on with our entry control systems. And then last but not least, our camera systems. We currently have 32 camera systems. We have a software capability now to allow each one of our law enforcement municipalities and the sheriff to be able to view in live, and we're going to turn that on so all of them can have access to all of our cameras starting fairly soon. The recommendations that will be coming forward and what I've gotten from our committee that we currently put together on May 9th was that keep the current SRO contracts in place for the Ormond Beach. We currently have one. The South Daytona PD, keep the one there. Daytona Beach PD, keep those 10 plus one, like I mentioned earlier. DeLand PD, they requested, keep that one and add one, and then increase by 4. Therefore, every one of our middle, high schools, and alternative learning locations would have a sworn law enforcement officer on each one of our campuses, including some of our elementary schools in Daytona and South Daytona, because those contracts are already in place today, so we would keep those contracts for those schools. We would implement the Marshall program for the elementary schools by creating a new job description, like I mentioned earlier, our School Guardian Plus, which we would look at specifically for retired law enforcement and ex-military and beach patrol. And then hire current staff that meet the eligibility for substitutes if needed. Now, our recommendation would be 44 school guardians be trained. So we'd have 6 subs geographically laid out so we can fill in if somebody's out sick. I'm not sure if that'd be enough, so therefore we would like to also look at some district staff that we may have to pull from their duties to do this duty if the school marshal is out, or school guardian is out that day. So with that, I open it up for questions, and I can give you more detail on next board meeting on the layout of the Marshall Plan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aiken. Any questions or comments, board members? Mrs. Johnson.
Thank you, first of all. You mentioned that they would be, I don't know the policy for the Sheriff's Department, but do they have mental health evaluations annually for their employees? Like physicals and mental health?
Yeah, currently they have once you get the initial random drug testing done, then it's, the initial drug testing done, it's random thereafter. A psychological evaluation is done initially, and then my understanding is based on behaviors, or if you're involved in a shooting or if those type of things, then they do another mental health evaluation. So it's not done, to my understanding, it's not done annually, but I could be correct.
Yeah, from my community, I've already received an applicant.
Okay.
He's awesome. A lieutenant colonel, he's current commissioner, and I didn't even know he had the experience he has. They are out there waiting to come in and help our schools.
Thank you.
So I'm excited.
Anyone else? Mr. Persis.
Thank you. Great.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. I have some questions concerning the guardian.
Okay.
So would these people then, would they be able to stay after school for extracurricular events? In other words, would we be paying them overtime for when we need them to be there?
Yeah, so currently what we have designed is 185 days. Obviously, it's a 180-day school year. 5 additional days would be set for training, and obviously, as needed, we would bring them in if need be. Right now, at high schools, we normally have our officers, sheriff or DeLand PD or whoever, go to the special events at the evening time. The school guardian would be part of that school, working with the principal for security on that campus, reporting to the school safety specialists. So the answer to your question would be, if we need them, they would be there.
Well,
Yes.
I'm just thinking when we build our budget,
Sure.
it's going to be more than just X amount of days times X amount of hours. We're going to have to build in a substantial number of...
Yes, sir.
What about as it relates to disruptive students? As you know, the way we use our SROs, SRDs now, there's trouble on the campus. We can call the SRO, SRD.
Now, sir, you call the the school threat assessment team, which is comprised of a counselor, administrator.
Well, okay, I'm not talking at that level. I'm talking about fights in progress.
Right.
APs down there, everyone on board, the SRD, here's the call, everybody rushes to, stop it
Sure.
as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Will these people will they be trained in knowing how to restrain students?
De-escalation training.
To, be able to physically put their hands on students and know how to do that effectively.
Yeah.
Much like a campus advisor, you're asking.
Right. Well, I would hope even better than a
Yes, some of the training is de-escalation training. I mean, there's lots of training that's now required in 7020. I didn't go over all of that training. At the middle and high schools, obviously, you're going to have a school resource officer currently there. The elementary schools is what we're talking about, 38 of those. And so they would be trained how we want them to be trained. We can train them more than what's required by law. Okay, so if we want NCI training or those type of things, we could do that training.
Right. As you know, we have a number of students who are I'm assuming this guardian would not be able to make that call, so
Correct.
How would he be able to call a law enforcement officer?
Call a local law enforcement officer when need be. Yeah, it's exactly what we would do today. If a school that does not have an officer there would call the local law enforcement. Same thing here.
Okay, and so he would be calling the local, I say she or she would be calling the local municipality law enforcement, not another SRD at a nearby school. Okay, so they would still continue to use law enforcement. Would they be available for often times the principal feels more comfortable when there's angry parent coming in, conference, will they be available for that purpose, sitting in, being around, being physically present, or are they gonna? They can't. I just want to be clear that I don't want to limit their job, narrowly describe their job. I think they got to be at whatever that principal says. I need you here. He needs to come. And not say, well, that's not part of my job.
The way that we're designing it is that they're not to sit in an office. They are to walk through the campus continuously, be present, go at lunchtime. You want to build those relationships and at the direction of the principal. Now, if there's a volatile situation in the front office, I would say their presence there would be necessary. To go back to those after-hour events. Currently at the high school and middle schools, if the deputies are there, the schools pay for that. And so I would imagine, it would be the same thing, but we'll look at that, at the elementary level.
I guess the overriding concern I really have is, all of this is great, and I think it's an efficient way, perhaps, to be in compliance with the law. But these last school shootings, we have students shooting students, and it's not this stranger coming on campus. It's not this crazy adult, flying up with a pickup truck and the gun rack on, and he's going to, shoot up these schools. It's students shooting students, and so all of this would not prevent that. They may be able to get there quicker after it starts because there's someone physically on the campus, but it doesn't stop a student who is a person that everybody knows on the campus from coming in with the trench coat, with the gun, and then going into his classroom and start to shoot people. And and I know the only way, I think, to stop that is to have that airport entryway where everyone has to funnel through a certain gatekeeper with the metal detectors so that the physical weapon cannot be brought on the campus. Because if you don't recognize the person coming on your campus as a stranger, then everyone is welcome, and you just can't assume anyone is carrying guns. I mean, that's not the way we operate at schools. So, and I know what I'm saying is so hard to do, practically speaking, because when you set up a checkpoint, it slows everything down, and you have thousands of kids wanting to get in school at about the same time, and then it's going to also take personnel to be there, like the airport, right? With the wands or machines that can do it. No. I'm not saying that. I guess what I'm frustrated by is that everyone across the country, everyone everywhere is doing the same thing that we are doing. Trying to come up with something that can stop this violence. But I just think having the law enforcement personnel on the campus at each school is not going to be the total answer. It's not going to stop what I think some of the public thinks that's going to stop. If they see a police car in front, then people aren't going to do these things. And that's just not the way it works, because we have so many examples of schools across the nation that had police officers there, and the students still were shooting other students. So I like our approach. I like how it's multifaceted, and I like our single point entry, and I think all those things are good. I think we're going to be telling ourselves, like, what is enough? I mean, is there how much more can you do until you just absolutely change the way children come to school and the way everyone goes to school? Yep. I mean, just creating like single file lines like you do to enter a sporting contest, I mean, but they have multiple gates with multiple people with lots of wands, and they get 50,000 people in, within one hour. Schools, we have buses, they're all coming in at the same time, take kids to the cafeteria, they got to be fed breakfast. There's so much happening at so many different points, and all about the same time, because we got to get the class on time. So I just think we need to just keep thinking.
Yeah, prevention. So one of the key things that we really need to look at, and definitely from my standpoint, is prevention. Parents have to get involved. They have to start, searching the child's backpack, their bedroom, know their children, look at their social media on the phones. That's where it kind of starts. You mentioned about, metal detectors. Airports have shootings as well. So even if we had them on our campus, and there was one shooting already this year since January where the school had metal detectors, the shooter, what their intention is going to be is to take that person out. They're going to come in anyway. This is to mitigate the loss of life and deter students from doing this. It takes every person, every student, faculty member, parent, community, grandparent, aunt, uncle, whoever, to identify the students that have some concerns and get them the help they need and be able to resolve these issues. And you're right, at some point in time, we can put all the bells and whistles in, it's not going to prevent it. We got to go back to prevention, which is human behavior changes that we have in place.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Thank you. Thank you for your concerns. Thank you, Mr. Persis. Anyone else? Dr. Hill? Mrs. Wright?
I just have one question. So when we go back and look at the schools, the amount of schools that we have in each of these cities, I cannot move away from why are we not having a conversation with the cities about how they plan to participate. I know Deltona kind of flat out told us they didn't have the money, but Deltona have the most schools, the largest amount of students. You can't tell me they cannot come up with some money to help with this purpose.
Well,
and I'm not putting you on the spot. You don't have to answer. I'm just saying, and I hope they're listening, because at the end of the day, they have 15 schools, almost 13,000 students, and we need 11 officers, or 11 somebody.
But part of the issue with Deltona, as you know.
I know they're a county. I know they don't have their own police, but I believe they should be
a contract with the sheriff.
I understand that.
Who doesn't have enough employees.
But exactly. So I think they might have to help allocate funding. I'm just saying that everybody, it is not just part of it, it is viewed as just a school issue or school boards as a whole. It is not a school's issue. It's a society issue. And if we don't address it as a society issue, we'll never have funding. I don't care what we do. We don't have the money for 44 more people. So the county needs to come on board, the other municipalities need to. This has to be treated as a community issue. In addition to, I know they're talking about money for mental health, but part of the problem, these kids who create these crimes, if you start putting their parents in jail, I guarantee you'll start seeing a difference. Because some of it is true. If parents know that their children are having issues and they have guns at home and they're not like, parents too should go to jail.
There should be some consequences. It should be uncomfortable.
Yeah, we have the cost kind of tentatively done, and I didn't go over it for a reason this evening. I plan on presenting that on June 12th on the cost associated with this, because we still got raw numbers. For example, we need to look at liability insurance, what that cost would be. We need to specifically finish the job roles for the individual school guardians. And then look at, can we train enough by time school starts coming up? And so those are questions we're going to answer between now and June 12th or whatever the next board meeting is. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Wright, very much. Right now, a lot of the counties are, and the cities as well as the county are creating their budget for the new 18-19 year. Is it possible that we could send a letter out to all the municipalities requesting their participation in some way, whether it's a sub, they could be part of the sub pool, recommendations, a line item in their budgets for the coming year. Even if it's $10,000, every little penny helps. Everything helps. And that would be their contribution to, and it is true, it is a society issue, it's a community issue. Just like we open up our doors for hurricane relief, they're all Volusia County citizens, plus the ones we pull off the highway, that are heading, and they just can't make it any further. So we can't do it all. We certainly cannot do it all. I do have a couple of questions or comments. When you said that their mental health records are going to be stored at the, will that be done at the school campus?
So that presentation is going to come forward with the school
on the 12th
services. We'll be bringing that presentation. There are some specific requirements and trainings that's going to have to take place, and I don't want to overspeak, because she's been really working. They have been really working on that.
All right, thank you. I'll wait. Also, there have been over 20 of our former students just in the last couple of months been arrested because of the zero tolerance of the sheriff's department. I often wonder, are those kids okay? They're not in jail. Are they also, you talked about restorative practice, you talked about civil citations, you talked about counseling. Is that being afforded to those students as well that have already been arrested? Do you happen to know that?
Yeah, the way I understand it is it's been turned over to the district attorney, right? And so they'll be working through with the, the lawyers and all that kind of fun stuff to find out what's, and they look at it from a case-by-case standpoint,
case,
and
individuals.
Then go in that direction.
Okay, because I think we're all very concerned about those students as well. Let's see. And I did have a question about liability, so you said you're going to be investigating that, because those marshal guardians would not have, we have to fulfill that liability expense.
Yes, we do.
Okay, what is the cost per SRO versus the cost of a guardian?
Okay, so, these are preliminary numbers, right? So, Volusia County Sheriff's Department currently right now, it's $89,000 per officer. I am being told that number will increase, and it could go up to $94,000 next year per officer. We have 2 officers at the DeLand for next year. They're $56,000 apiece, and that includes 70% cost share. Their salary and benefits only. They're not charging us anything else, just salary and benefits.
What are the other costs? Could you explain? It's just
some
not
of it's
salary
fuel,
and benefits?
Fuel. For example, the sheriff department has, and they haven't given us all the lists. They just give us the dollar amounts, but it's fuel. Fuel for the vehicle, and then some of the training requirements and everything else that kind of goes into their packet. So we have not sat down with the county to discuss those costs and then how we can do the cost share. With that, but that's the early numbers there.
Okay.
And I'm still working with South Daytona, and Daytona Beach is 533,000 divided by 11, so whatever that is, 53,000 a piece, I think, is something close to that. That's my quick math.
So roughly what we're looking at, for sheriff's deputy next year, it's 94,000. With this Marshall plan or Guardian Plus, we estimate our cost will be $30,000 in income, salary, but overall, once the benefits, it's a little under 50,000. So You have 94,000 versus 50,000. Those are very rough numbers. We had one quote already on liability insurance, and once it was investigated, the cost doubled. You know, for the liability insurance for our Guardian Plus. So we'll be bringing those numbers to you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And I had a meeting with Brown and Brown and explained this, what the Guardian does and the extensive training. So they're going back, giving us some new numbers.
Yes, that's good.
Right now, it's estimated $30,000 to $60,000. So
Each office?
per year for the liability. Currently, we have liability insurance currently right now. This would be added on to our current liability insurance that we have. We have acts of terrorism. Cybersecurity, we have policies in place, a policy in place currently for that right now. This would be an add-on to that current policy we have at an additional cost that we're going to get those numbers for you.
Okay.
No.
I'll have those by June 12th. We'll have those numbers by then.
And also for June 12th, I know we're trying to create, and we have created single point entries for many of our schools. Well, what are we doing, and you can bring this forward also on the 12th, what are we doing for our clerks sitting at the front desk, those very brave souls who are right there at the front door, who greet all of our visitors? Are we doing anything special for them for prevention, protection, especially protection, because they're the first ones a visitor will see?
Yes, so as we go through, that's the locking mechanisms that would be coming in place and the security camera systems that would be coming in place later on. They'll be able to view a lot of that and be able to buzz in and out. We plan on putting in what we call a sally port. It's like a holding area. So we can buzz them in, but the person would be behind like a cashier, you know, to where you're got a barrier between you, and they get buzzed in once and they get vetted through the process. But that's down the line because everything costs money. So we're trying to get single point first, locking mechanisms, cameras, and then we're moving down the line to get that in place. They'll have the panic button, right?
Yeah.
On the app, and then more training. We will continue providing training as we do now.
You said that we might have to create a sub-pool for 6, and those would just be like a substitute system, like we have substitutes right now.
Sort of like Sims.
And that would be their only job. But if we need more, for example, let's say Mr. Russell here would volunteer. You said that the guardians their only job would be for security, that they would not have another job. But if we go beyond the 6 subs that we have, and you have to go to school personnel, then that breaks down, doesn't it?
Well, what we're looking at, and we got to look at the absenteeism rate, and I projected that, you know, if you need 38 school guardians, you know, 10% is 4, we go 6 geographically laid out, they would be assigned daily jobs. But you got to understand, I know ex-military, law enforcement, they come to work, right? So I don't think we're going to have a high absenteeism rate there, but we do want to make sure that we have it covered so no school goes uncovered any day. So I understand we're not going to be picking teachers, our current school staff. It would be district staff that meet that qualification that would have to be reassigned for a day and do their duties there on campus.
But even with district staff,
sure, it'd be different unless we continue increasing. We're looking at costs, right?
Well, maybe that way the neighborhood police department or the county could help us with that.
And I wrote that down. Maybe they can give us a sub pool.
Yeah, a sub pool.
And they're going to be required, based on contract, to have a sub if their officer is out. So they'll be required to put a sub in on their campus.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Persis, you have 2 minutes.
Sure. Yes, sir.
So would these subs be paid only when they're called
No,
for
sir.
duty, or would we have them?
Our plan is that they're going to be trained regionally. So let's say there's no one absent. They will be an additional person at the local high school.
At another school?
Yeah.
Good.
Either the local high school or middle school.
So then they actually will be paid every day?
Yes.
And sometimes they may be doubled up at a school, but sometimes they may be the only one at a school?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other comments or questions of Mr. Aiken? Thank you very much for all your efforts and your deadlines, and we wish you well until the 12th.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we have 20.01, public participation. Okay, let me ask the board and see if they approve. Would you let this gentleman speak? Anyone object?
It's 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll give you 2 minutes. How's that, sir? Yes, speak over here, please, sir, and state your name, your address, and the reason for your visit. Yeah.
It's not on.
We can't hear you.
It's not on.
Not on.
Turn it on.
Okay, yeah, 2 seconds here.
State your name and address, sir.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Kerry Lyons. I live at 6195 Secret Lake Drive in Port Orange. I believe that is in your district, Madam Chairwoman, by Creekside Elementary. I live here in Port Orange, obviously. I currently serve as the executive officer of Port Security Unit 305, Coast Guard. And I'd like to offer to the board and to the citizens of our county my 30 years of experience in saving lives and deterring bad actors that seek to harm citizens of our country. I'm positing here that it takes a wide array of intelligence resources to appropriately and timely detect and deter bad actors prior to allowing them to do harm on our campuses. So this is a great thing you guys are here talking about. While all of this presented here is great information, and we do need what is proposed, and as Mr. Peirce has observed, quite frankly, we must go beyond what is proposed here. And with my experience, I would like to assist the school board in keeping our children, teachers, and administrative staff secure. The gentleman talked about a safe school program. It should be a secure school program because there's a difference between safety and security. Therefore, I'm announcing my intent to run for School Board District 3. Thank you, that's all I have.
All right, sir, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to board action items. 21.01.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This presentation will be by Dr. Amy Hall and Mr. Michael Dyer.
Good evening. The proposed policy amendment is proposed to you for adoption. It was last presented to you at your March 27th meeting. There have been no changes since that time. The change is limited to the correction of an error on a chart relating to end-of-course exams in the student progression plan. Dr. Hall and I are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from the board? Any comments? There are no comments or questions of you, Mr. Dyer. Mr. Russell.
The superintendent recommends adoption of the proposed amendments to the School Board Policy 307.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, do you mind if I have Mrs. Wright over here? Oh, okay. Okay, the motion has been made to approve the proposed amendments to School Board Policy 307, Student Progression Plan. It has been, the motion was made by Mrs. Johnson and has been seconded by Mrs. Wright. All those approved, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say no. The motion is passed. Thank you. 21.02, Mr. Russell.
Mr. Dyer will make this presentation.
The proposed amendment to Policy 303 is your annual update to what is called the Special Programs and Procedures for Exceptional Students. This is something that is required by state law and involves and is administered by your ESE department. All the proposed changes have been reviewed and approved by the Florida Department of Education, contingent on your approval. Ms. Gilliland is here with me, just going to provide a very brief overview of the update to the procedures for this year.
Good evening.
I do have just a few pieces that we have amended in the policies and procedures for special education programs. 4 of the items that were changed had to do with text statements that DOE actually changed in the template that had to do with rule revisions. And those are Part 1, Section E, Part 2, Section B7, and B15, and in Part 4, Section C regarding the Gardner Scholarship. We had to also create additional language and enter in new updated data for our restraint and seclusion information, as well as our gifted data for the past couple of years, and set new goals forth in this upcoming statement. We did revise and have an opportunity to review every section that is allowed every 3 years, and intermittently they will open up specific sections when it does not fall on that 3-year mark. So this was the opportunity for us to review and revise, making a few small language changes and updating some programs that we're using within the district now. As Mr. Dyer said, all of these revisions have been approved by DOE.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Russell? Oh, I'm sorry. Any comments or questions of Ms. Gilliland? Okay, thank you. Mr. Russell.
The superintendent recommends that authority be granted to advertise the proposed amendments to School Board Policy 303, Special Programs and Procedures for Exceptional Students.
The superintendent has requested for us to authorize to advertise proposed amendments to School Board Policy 303, which is Special Programs and Procedures for Exceptional Students. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, it has been moved by Mrs. Johnson and seconded by Mrs. Wright. Is there any discussion?
I do have a question for Ms. Gilliland.
Certainly.
You said it was some program. What are some of the programs? What are the new programs that were added?
We just updated some of the interventions that schools are using within the RTI section. We had not revised that section for the past 3 years. We don't have many programs that are available in all schools, and so we do pull from quite a few interventions that we know that schools are using. And those are there's just a snapshot of those that are listed within that section that has to do with response to intervention in MTSS.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, it has been moved and seconded already. Discussion is completed. All those approved, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is passed. Thank you both. 21.03, Mr. Russell.
Mr. Dyer will make this presentation.
The last agenda item on policies this evening is a proposed amendment to your School Board Policy 801, which governs public participation in your meetings. The proposed change to this policy would conform public input to be 3 minutes per speaker, as we have seen with the Volusia County government and an informal survey that we performed of area school districts. That is the standard we have seen in Brevard, Lake, Seminole, and Orange counties, as well as additional districts that did respond to our survey. This seems to be the common standard, and the proposed revision would be to conform to that.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments or questions of Mr. Dyer? Any discussion? Okay. Mr. Russell.
The superintendent recommends that authority be granted to advertise proposed amendments to School Board Policy 801, Public Participation in School Board Meetings.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation that we authorize the advertisement of proposed amendments to School Board Policy 801. Is there a motion?
Second.
It has been moved by Mr. Persis and seconded by Dr. Hill. All those in any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Motion is passed. Thank you. 22.01. It's now items from the school board members. Anyone want to go first? Mrs. Wright, how about you?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, graduation is upon us. I had an opportunity to attend Campbell Middle School's 8th grade celebration, and I will be visiting some of my elementary schools that will be having their 5th grade celebration, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, anything else?
Not that I know, did I miss something?
No, no, ma'am, you most certainly did not. No, just.
Your cue card.
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Wright. Mr. Persis?
I would just like to follow up on the young people that spoke this morning about what was it,
Yeah.
I can speak to it.
Okay.
The issue was not on our end. We had a 0.5 in our staffing that was available to the school. However, the military has to provide the other 0.5. They were pointing to policy, and what I wanted in writing was that they would, because throughout our district, they've only funded 2 military personnel at each school. This is the 3rd. And so we wanted in writing that they would, fund their half. And we did receive, late last night, funding the letter that said, they would do so. Because that is, when you go and you see that particular program at DeLand High, it's functioning at a very, very high level. But to repeat and to be abundantly clear, it was not a Volusia County Schools issue with appropriating money for that position. We had the 0.5. We just wanted to make sure they would match it. Yes, sir.
No, that's great. No, it sounded very good. I mean, I'm not, you would be aware of it more than I. It sounded good. I like.
They were good. They were good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They articulate. Yes. Okay.
Or the municipalities, right?
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you, Mr. Persis. Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, I was going to brag. They had a Muffins for Moms at one of my elementary schools, and they had over 600 parents at Spirit Elementary, adults participating. It was so big, they actually sent them to the classrooms and then delivered everything to each classroom, but the kids were just beaming to have their mamas there and those that cared about them. Lots of HOSA, FFA. I've got a senior, so I've got an event every night. Young Author Awards, lots happening that's exciting to see the kids celebrate. Something that came tonight when you had the young man say his address, I would like us to consider as a board when they're under 18, that maybe we don't do that, that they could put it in writing to to the records, but to keep them safe. It kind of just hit me tonight. I've never thought about it, and I want to think about that really as a board, to protect our children, not to say their address publicly to just anybody listening.
Sure.
So maybe, I don't know if that requires a policy or if we can just say it. But it's just a thought. Adults I'm fine with, that's their choice to speak, but when they're under, they're students, I'm just thinking that out loud.
Even if they're in the 5th grade, yes. Yeah. That's a very good suggestion. Yes, that's very, very good. Thank you so much. Dr. Hill?
I have nothing, Madam Chair.
Okay, Mr. Dorn?
Nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
What time is our workshop on the 7th?
All day.
8:30.
It is all day.
Yes, well, and that was part of my, I just had 2 announcements. On June 7th, we'll have the workshop, and from 2 to 4, we will have a joint meeting with DSC that this board requested. And so, and then that will be at DAC. So we'll go from 8:30, we'll break for lunch, and then from 2 to 4 will be DSC.
Is it possible that we have a working lunch? And the only reason I'm asking, I think Greg's presentation is very important, and the school board meeting just consumed. I'd rather see it in a workshop.
Okay.
Where we really can maybe delve into some other things.
Sure.
Versus having it so late. I'm not sure what our agenda is for that day, but if it's not packed, I'd really rather have the presentation that would take place on the 12th, maybe workshopped.
And then on the 12th, all you would do is vote on it.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Would you be, if the 7th is already packed, would you be in agreement to meet at another time?
Well, no, because I think we got to address it sooner than later, so we really wouldn't
No,
have
I
any
meant
other time.
that week. I mean, the 6th or the 8th.
I think if we have a working lunch, we could.
I can eat while I listen.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying no, because the 12th will be the very next week. I don't want to just have meetings to have a meeting. But if our agenda is not packed and we didn't mind working through our lunch, it would be good to have that conversation at that workshop.
Okay, that sounds good. And that starts at 8:30 at DAC?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So did I cover everybody this time?
And I have one more item.
All right, sir, go
On
ahead.
June 28th from 5:30 to 7:30, we had a meeting scheduled with Southeast Volusia, 3 cities, 3 in 1, New Smyrna Beach, Edgewater, and Oak Hill. They want to move it to the 27th, so we will be contacting you to see if you are available.
I'm sorry.
No,
So
the
the one we have scheduled.
For the 28th, yeah, they
So
cannot.
they want it on Wednesday instead of Thursday,
Right.
is what you're saying? At the same time?
I'm available. Just thought I'd let you know I'm available, so you don't have to
Same
call me.
time, so?
Yes, ma'am,
Mhm.
5:30 to
available.
7:30.
The 27th of what?
June.
That's a Wednesday.
Yes, instead of a Thursday.
No, actually, when I leave on the 26th, I'm going for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I'll be more than happy to call in.
Okay.
Okay.
On that cruise ship.
I just said, where are you going?
I can't hear you.
Where are you going? I just whispering.
No, I'll be in Indianapolis, so I could.
Splash of the kids coming off the slide in the background.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Russell. I just want to give Mr. Russell my check for $50 to Futures Foundation. I swore to goodness my phone was off, but here you go. So, keep to my word. Futures is an excellent contribution, I'll tell you. Mr. Marks, everyone celebrated your replacement. I heard all the cat calls, but I just want to say you will be missed. In a time when your replacement has been announced, I don't want to ignore all the service that you have given this county as, you were a teacher here too, correct? As a principal and assistant principal? Oh, I know, but when everybody is congratulating your successor, I just want to make sure you are still here.
He's still here 7 months, and he's going to come to work tomorrow.
Okay, I just wanted to give you a hand too. I don't want people to forget you either. And you're welcome. And I want to say thank you to Jane Pfeiffer, who I partnered with last Thursday. We did 4 classes of STEM teaching, 30 minutes each with second graders. It was the most exhausting time I've had in a long time, but it was exhilarating at the same time. I want to thank her business partners who contributed 1,000 tape measures for various students. They had VMA on it, it had a pen in it. It was small enough for kids to clip it on their shorts or pants. It also had a level on the side as well as a 6-foot measuring tape. So thank you very much to the VMA. And I think I'm attending Richard Milburn Academy at graduation tomorrow night and Childs Academy on Friday night.
Is that 6 or 6:30?
Richard Milburn?
I'll
6 at Atlantic High School.
At Atlantic High School,
And
yes.
then-
Does that take
Childs.
an hour?
Yeah.
About an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then FUMSH is Thursday night. The Legacy Scholars Academy
Yes.
is Thursday in Sanford. They have 10 graduates.
Wow.
And all of them started
That's
with
huge.
the program. They came in front of the board.
Yes.
And all of them are getting a traditional high school diploma.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. Because those kids weren't successful. So now they're awesomely successful.
It's a tribute to Volusia County and the working relationship that we all have with one another in the innovative ways that we have to address issues. Is there anything else to come before the board? With that, I thank you very much, and we are adjourned.
Mr. Russell, that groundbreaking ceremony, I haven't heard of